I hate computers. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to hell. I sure wish that anything ever worked. Ever. That was the 199, the LDARC 199C camera. It looks like crap. I do not recommend that camera. So yeah, today we are going to be attempting to myth bust the rated KVs on these motors. I am going to spin up as many of these motors as as many of these tiny whoop motors as I can possibly spin up here. And at 50% throttle in Betaflight, and take a look at the reported RPM from what's it called? D-Shot RPM filtering, D-Shot RPM. Yep. Because there are some humongous discrepancies in the rated KVs on these motors, the KV that's stamped on the bell, and the actual amount of power and RPM that we get in flight. On Friday's live stream, I spun up a Happy Model 32,000 kV motor and a BetaFPV 30,000 kV motor, and the higher rated motor, the 32,000 kV motor, was 5,000 RPM less. In order to test KV, it's no propeller on. It's an unloaded test is what it's called. So the stator volume, the grunt of the motor, has nothing to do with it, because there's no load on the motor. There's no propeller there to make the motor do a substantial amount of work. All it has to do is spin the bell, and the bells are pretty lightweight. And so I didn't need to take that prop off. And so, yeah, that it's wild, and I want to get a little bit more to the bottom of what's going on there. What it seems like is that Happy Model overspecs their motors, or BetaFPV underspecs their motors. I don't have a lot of other motors to test, admittedly. I have sold, I think, all of the VCI motors that I had. Let me take a super quick... Ooh! No! Here we go. I have a set of... I think these did sell, but I just haven't had a chance to ship them out yet. Excellent. This is a set of VCI 0703... 23,500s. And so we'll spin one of these up and see what's going on, and then I'll ship it out. And so yeah, I'm just gonna spin as many motors up as I can. I'm gonna bust out every single rig that I've got. I'm gonna take propeller off of motor number 1, and we'll see what's what. Hopefully we can sort of figure this out a little bit more, because yeah, it's super. It's on one hand, it's like, who cares? Just put a set of motors on and spin them up, and they make the amount of power that they make. But it is a big deal, because the when you go to buy a motor, if you buy a 30,000 kV motor, you want it to perform similar to other 30,000 kV motors that you've previously bought. And if you get it and it's like way more powerful or way less powerful, you're like, well, what the hell? I would have bought a higher or lower kV motor if this is going to be the case. So yeah, kind of obnoxious. But hey, welcome to FPV. So yeah, you're gonna see me futzing around with the prop popper a bunch here because I need to pull propellers off of these motors. I also kind of want to test like one AIO versus. I want to test in between the AIOs to see if there's any discrepancy between AIOs. Boy, do I hope there isn't. If with a propeller on, okay, sure, one AI, like a 12 amp AIO might be able to push harder than a 5 amp. It shouldn't, but we've seen that in the past. With the propellers off, though, I hope to hell that there is no discrepancy between one AIO and the next, because that would just add. It's bad enough that the motors, the stated the rated kV on the motors doesn't seem to mean anything. If also the AIO has an effect, that's gonna like exponentially, yeah, that's gonna be exponentially more annoying. We're also gonna do mailbag tonight. I got my box of custom micro V's from ORT. These are going to be available over on the Etsy store sooner than later. If you know what these are and you know that you want them, just message me. And yeah, you can be one of the first people to score a custom ORT micro V. I've been talking about these quite a bit. Hey, there's a benefit to folks that have been paying attention and hanging out for a while. Yeah, if you already know what these are, you can be one of the first ones to get them. I've got 20 though. I've got a bunch. 10 white, 10 black, and a Geronimus 703 motors are an interesting choice for 75 millimeter. They heat up. I've done a bunch of testing in the past on them, and I've talked about them quite a bit. Search my channel for 0703, and you'll find a live stream where there's some flight footage for you, and I talk about them. Basically, they overheat. 703 stator. It's not very wide, and that 3 millimeters tall is pretty tall. So if you, yeah, they just overheat. So if you fly very slowly, they might work because you won't be putting a lot of heat into them. If you want to fly them hard, though, they're going to get too hot. When magnets get too hot, they lose efficiency. Yeah, your flight time suffers and you don't get the same amount of power. And like when you hammer the throttle, you don't know how much power you're going to get. If the magnets are already overheated, you're going to get less power. If you've been light on the throttle and then you hammer it, you're going to get more power. So you end up with a setup that is not very consistent. Cool. And then I got a little care package from Freelojo as well that we will bust open, take a quick look at. We're going to fly 6 Tiny Whoop batteries. I have them sitting on the charger over here. And, of course, it's a Q&A live stream, as they all are. CiottiFPV.com is the website where you can support me. Head on over and click a bunch of buttons. You're going to love my nuts. In the chat, Bad was first, Titan was next, Cheetonian, Crom, Freelojo, Chuck P, Neurone, Geronimus, Zoe101, Northern Tier, Guillermo's in the house, Thrash FPV, Chaser FPV, Alexander Lewis Hughes, V-Pro, Douglas 6, 7 Eero. I think that's supposed to be 0, though. I'm going to call you 0 from now on, unless you tell me not to. If you tell me not to, I'll probably forget and call you 0 anyway. Uriel, We Bleed FPV. What's up, Zotech? How are you, brother? Blue Sky FPV, Skoll, S-Cole. Is it Skoll or S-Cole? I will remember, because you're here all the time. Hey, where are you guys from? Where's everybody at? Blue Sky FPV is in Saskatchewan, Canada. Saskatchewan! I ask S-Cole or Skoll which it is. Skoll or S-Cole. And his response is Scully. Or S-Coley. Which is it? Is it one big word, or is it Sam Cole? Or is it Sam Coley? Which is it? Yeah, type where you're from. Maybe there's somebody that's near you that wants to meet up and fly or trade gear or murder you in your sleep. That'd be fine. If anybody wants to do that here, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Come on over. I go to sleep late though, so yeah. Removing propellers, preparing these rigs. Test setup is a Toolkit RC P200 adjustable power supply that I set to 4 volts. And then I plug the rigs in via USB to that, and then go into Betaflight and ramp motor 1 up to 50% in the motors tab. And then there's a little RPM readout there that I can take a look at. It doesn't give an exact RPM, but we don't need an exact RPM. We're not trying to nail down like Happy Model is 16% too low on their KV, because we don't know. We don't have a way of actually testing the KV. All we have is a way of spinning these motors up with the same amount of voltage going to them to see how one compares to the other. And that's almost good enough. It would be nice to have a way of testing the actual KV, but like, I don't know, what makes my way of testing the KV any better than BetaFPV's method, or Happy Model's method, or VCI's method, right? Like, and there could be inaccuracies in, you know, whatever way of testing it that I've got. So yeah, I'm less interested in actually trying to nail down the real KV because of that. I just want to know, is Happy Model always overrated? Are BetaFPV motors always underrated? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm really trying to get at here, and that's, I think, the best we can kind of do. So that, yeah, when we go to buy a BetaFPV motor that says 30,000 kV, we know that we're actually going to get like 34,000 Happy Model kVs worth of power. So yeah, there's that. I have a bunch of rigs that I can do this on, which should really help us out to kind of figure this out. I've got tons of Happy Model motors. I've got 1, 2, 3 different sets of BetaFPV motors. I've got the VCI motor. I've even got a sub 250 1002 that will spin up. And then, so we're going to test this guy. Tell me this isn't the most satisfying thing to look over and see all the time. Just a little BetaFPV prototype Air 65 keeping his little head warm, wearing a little hat. These used to be sold on tinywhoop.com. Last I checked, they were out of stock. But yeah, I'm just grabbing everything, man. I'm just grabbing all the rigs because I also want to test one AIO versus the next, new AIO versus old AIO, that kind of stuff. So I'm hooking everything up, man. I'm plugging absolutely everything that I've got in. I'm pulling the propeller off of motor 1 on all this stuff. And yeah, we will get to the bottom of this a little bit. I've done, come to think of it, I've already got a spreadsheet with some KV info. Where the hell is it? Is it in here? No, FPV weights. Google Doc, FPV weights. What is this? Oh, look at me. I've got a Google Doc with a bunch of weights. It's not even close to being done yet, though. What is this? The no. What is this? I do these Google Docs and then I forget all about them. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So here's something we got. We can start to take a look at this. Oh, son of a bitch. Wait. Oh! I've already done a bunch of these. I didn't realize that I'd done 702s. I thought I only did 802s. All right, this is cool. So we can get started. We can already start looking at this. We can already start figuring this out. I was not doing this specifically for what we're talking about here, though. This was... I was logging these RPMs to... how do I make this bigger? What is it? Command plus, I think? Yeah. Wait, no, I don't have to do it that way. Hold on. We can go and... yeah, I was doing this to compare the prop on output. I wanted to take a look at how the RPM changed with no propeller on versus a propeller on. And... yeah. Much better. But, which is why I didn't even really think about this. But we've got a bunch of really good data already in here. And I'm going to back some of this stuff up. We're still going to do a bunch of testing here, but I'm going to double check these RPMs. So yeah, RPM at 50%. I am 99... Yeah, voltage. There we go, 4 volts. Beautiful. Okay, this is great. So we've got 4 volts. I've done this test setup before. These are sort of the settings that I've kind of settled on. So voltage at 50%, 4 volts across the board, and then RPM at 50% in Betaflight, doing this the exact same way. So, okay, I don't have any BetaFPV 0702s in here, but we can certainly take a look at the VCI, right? All right, so, yeah, we're already starting to see it with VCI, right? So, VCI 0702, 29,000 kV, as well as Newbie Drone 0702, 29,000 kV. They're both turning 56,000 RPM. We compare that to a Happy Model 0702, 28,500, right? Only 500 kV different, but the RPM goes down by 5,000. And then we take a look at the Happy Model 0702, 30,000, 1,000 kV higher, and the RPM is still 2,000 kV lower. So it is certainly starting to look like, and I've said this before, but I'm not like, I've yet to say like this is definitely the case. Hopefully we can get here today. I've said before that it seems like Happy Model's method of measuring kV is overstating the actual kV of the motor. And we're already starting to see that. Both Newbie Drone and VCI, and on Friday's live stream we saw BetaFPV, they're all turning a much higher actual RPM than the Happy Models when you compare them by the numbers that are stamped on the actual bell. That is on 702s. It also seems like 702s are the worst offenders here. We can also compare here. This is interesting. Happy Model 0702, 30,000 kV turned 54,000 RPM. But then if we look at another Happy Model 30,000 kV motor, the 0603, that turns 56,000 kV. So again, that is an example of what I just said. The 702s seem to be the worst offenders here. Let's take a look here, though. We've got some Happy Model 802s that we can kind of take a look at. We got to get close in the rated kV, though. So BetaFPV 802, 23,000 kV is turning 40,000, but then the Happy Model 802 25 is turning 44. Look at this, though. Look at this difference. From an 802 25,000 kV to an 802 27,000 kV. We went from 44,000 to 52,000. That's a hell of a jump. Although, when we then go up to 30,000 kV, it jacks all the way up to 60,000. But then this, I remember this being very weird. When we went from 30,000 kV to 33,000 kV, it goes from 60, it doesn't change. It goes from 60 to 60. Cheatonian says, look at the difference between Happy Model 36 and Happy Model 40. Yeah, right? We sometimes we have these massive jumps. 36,000 kV to 40,000 kV. It goes from 60,000 to 70,000. Here is something that I will say, though, and this might be why the 702s are the biggest offenders here. There's a Facebook group, Tiny Whoop Motor Rewinding Group, I think it's called, where a bunch of awesome people are taking apart Tiny Whoop motors, taking a look at the thickness of the winding material and how many winds are on each stator pole. And then rewinding them and really figuring out how many winds. So there's two different ways of winding, delta and WY something or other, right? And that affects the KV, right? So there's two different ways to wind the windings around the stator poles. And then there's how many winds you do around each stator pole. How many wraps around each stator pole has the biggest effect on KV. The thickness of the winding material, WYE, thank you, Brian. The thickness of the material has the most to do with how much power it's going to make, but it doesn't really have much to do with the KV itself. KV comes from delta versus WYE, but more importantly, how many winds are around each stator pole. With these really high KV Tiny Whoop motors, these guys are only doing like 5 and 6 and 7 winds around each stator pole, which is not a lot. If you look at like a 5-inch motor, for example, it'll be wound around each stator pole. There'll be like 20, 30 winds around each stator pole. It's wild. And so, yeah, it's, we are winding so few times around each stator pole that it is very hard to nail down the KV, and my guess is that's why we're seeing these the actual RPMs go all up and down, and I think it's also why we're seeing these like weird discrepancies where like you know, a rated 36,000 kV is turning 60,000, but then a rated 40,000 kV is turning 70,000, and as the RPM goes up, the situation gets worse. Justin Mueller says, so early today. Nice to see you. Yeah, Sundays are the EU live streams, basically. I picked this time slot back when Joshua used to stream from 1 to 3 today. For the same reason, he wanted to do a live stream a week for the European audience. He's no longer doing those. But I figure, you know, I'll keep doing them because I love you, European folks. I'm jealous in many ways of you, European bastards. So yeah, that's the plan. Wow, I totally forgot. I completely forgot that I had done 702s here. I busted out a couple, like 1 or 2 802s for the thumbnail and to test, just for the sake of it. But I thought that I was going to have to do all of this work. This is actually really nice because there are a bunch of other motors that are not on this sheet. And I don't necessarily know... I'm not going to add to this sheet. I'm going to make a new sheet. I think... shout out to Kevin Sumner for doing the math to estimate the KV here. This column for estimated KV is thanks to the wonderful Kevin Sumner, who I have not seen in the chat for a little while. If any of you guys, next time any of you guys talk to Kevin Sumner, be like, yo, what the fuck, man? Where you at? He's a busy guy. Why does this camera keep going out of focus? Is it me? Am I going out of focus? Is my face going out of focus? Google Drive. So yeah, I'm going to make a new Google Drive document. Sign in. How am I not signed in, you jerks? Oh, okay. For the KV testing. Is that a bad idea? Should I just add it to that? No. No, because that Google Drive doc is... all of these Google Drives are available to you patrons on the Patreon channel, on my Patreon page, over on their website. There are tags on the top that allow you to organize the posts, the Patreon posts. And there's a tag for spreadsheet. So if you search for spreadsheet, you'll find my Patreon posts with all of these spreadsheets that I've done. I haven't done a ton, but I've done a bunch. FPV weights, 1S tiny whoop powertrains, tiny whoop RPM testing. It's literally called tiny whoop RPM testing. I think we should maybe just add to it. I didn't realize that it was actually called RPM testing. All right, I think we're gonna just add to it. What is happening here? Oh, I pulled over the entire window. Okay. Tiny whoop RPM testing. Okay, we're just gonna add to this. That's fine. We're gonna add to this, and then maybe someday I'll add the extra data for spinning the props up. So yeah, as I add to this, you guys already have access to this spreadsheet, so you'll be able to pull this shit up. I'm going to be adding a bunch of motors in here, so let's do a little bit of that. And yeah, Uriel says, I think with the self-winding, they can damage the wire easily, and then you have winding less, so difference, bigger motors, DIY works maybe better. Yeah, those guys make it very obvious. I mentioned location a little bit earlier, Frank. The guys in that rewinding group, it is very obvious that what they're doing is super difficult. I've seen a couple of people mention how, so like the stator poles are kind of rectangular. There you go. And so they're trying to run this motor up and across and around. And when they pull down on the wire to try to get it tight on the corners, if they pull on the wire too hard, it'll snap. So how hard people are pulling on the wire is going to also slightly adjust the length of the wire. And the length of the wire that is wound, the number of winds around the stator pole is the most important thing. But what's actually important is the length of the wire. So if somebody winds them very loose, it's going to have more wire, and that's going to be a lower KV. If somebody winds it really tight, that's going to actually have slightly less wire. So that kind of factors into it as well. The motors that come from Happy Model or BetaFPV or VCI or Newbie Drone, those are machine wound, and so the machine is gonna pull at with the same force all the time. So the machine wound motors should be a little bit more, a little bit less all over the place. So yeah, what actually matters is the length of the wire, because it's a resistance thing. The less wire, the less resistance, and the higher that motor will be able to spin RPM wise. So yeah, there you go. Let me get caught up on chat. Hey, if you want to talk to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. You can also do a super chat if you want to really stand out. Over on CiottiFPV.com, there's a ton of different ways you can support me. Patreon helps me the most. Somebody join the Patreon. You know you've been thinking about it. join the Patreon right now, and I'll give you a shout out. Here's some shout outs for you. Brian Tegger, welcome to the Gangly Gang, my friend. He joined at 3:38. Look at that. Brian was on top of it. He knew I was gonna say, like, hey, somebody join the Patreon. Thank you, Brian. Welcome to the gang. There's another one or two shout outs that I wanted to give. Nope, that's an AliExpress email. Nope. That's me buying pizza. Nope, that's me spending $136 at the grocery store for, like, nothing. Obviously it wasn't nothing, but it wasn't, like, a lot. It's them goddamn liberals' faults. It's definitely the liberals' faults. Michael Klomp, welcome to the Gangly Gang, my friend. Thank you for joining the Patreon. And I think there was one more. Come on, I swear. Yep. Sean Williams. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. It means a whole lot. Yeah, if you guys want to see this thing continue forever, Patreon is the way to do it. But you can also do, but you might as well start using affiliate links. They are, if you don't use my affiliate links, use somebody else's. They're one of the best ways that you can support your local YouTube creators for free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can't, there's no like, oh, now I can't use a coupon or get free shipping. So yeah, change your bookmarks over to someone's affiliate links and they'll do a better job here on YouTube. In the chat, BAD says if it's 2 kV plus 2 kV, then it could be 1 to 1,000, depends on who you ask. I put a poll up while I was waiting for OBS to launch that says, what is 2 plus 2? Is it 4 or is it 3? And 66% of you have agreed that it's 4. But a staggering 34% of you think that it's 3. 3 is, of course, a combination of 3 and 5. I'm ending the poll. 67 votes. Thrash FPV says, should have had the Mythbusters intro play for the stream's intro. That would have been cool. Thrash FPV says, will you test 40,000 kV? I will retest 40,000 kV. I've pulled the propellers off of a bunch of these rigs already, so I'm going to retest a bunch of this stuff. Again, because I did not, in this testing here, I used an X12, a Happy Model X12 AIO, because I was testing with propellers on, and I wanted there to be 12 amp FETs so that there was no chance that a 5 amp FET was being maxed out and was not producing more power. That was actually something that I tested on this live stream, and I did find that if you put a powerful enough motor and prop combo on a 5 amp AIO and then on a 12 amp AIO, the 12 amp will literally make more power. On the lower powered setups, that is not the case. That was only really happening down here with the big boy motors and the big boy propellers. The 1610 propeller on the really high kV motors is where is the only time that I was actually seeing that happen, which is a good thing. Because yeah, again, another pain in the ass weird thing going on that we have to pay attention to. So yeah, there you go. I don't know why this is. Why are these 3.8? Did I change that? I think I might have dialed the voltage down to 3.8 to account for battery sag. That's interesting. I don't necessarily remember doing that. Huh. Luckily, they're all 3.8. So, all right, cool. We Bleed FPV says, hello, Gangly Gang. Happy Sunday. ORT for the win. Indeed. ORT makes such good stuff. Geronimus says, we talked about that. Blue Sky says, do you have other shipping options than Etsy? Shipping for two ORT antennas was $44 to Canada. just message me and I'll figure it out. Etsy's shipping is a hot mess. So yeah, if you're ever trying to order something on Etsy and the shipping is wrong, or if you just want to order a bunch of stuff on Etsy but you don't want them to take the whatever it is, they don't take much of a percentage, but just message me, tell me what you want, and I'll drop your info into the US shipping in Etsy is dead on the money. It's exactly like $4.34 or whatever the hell it is, that I almost always pay through stamps.com. Outside of the United States of insanity, the Etsy shipping is almost always wrong. So message me with your address, and I'll drop it into stamps.com, and I'll give you the actual shipping amount. It is expensive, though. I don't know what has happened over the last few years, but shipping outside of the U.S. is insane. It's usually over $20. So, yeah, buy a bunch of stuff. Really scour my Etsy to try to find a whole bunch of shit that you want to order all at once. And if there's stuff that you're looking for that is not on the Etsy store that you think maybe I'll have, ask me. It's all good. I have too much shit. Yeah, especially if it's something weird. If it's something weird, I really might have it. Douglas 6 says, or as I like to call them, CiottiFPV's short ORTs. Yeah, that's basically what they are. They're slightly shorter ORT micro Vs. Geronimus says, thanks for the clear explanation. Thrash FPV says, I swear I will lose it if I find out different AIOs give different KVs. Yeah. They fucking better not, man. They really better not. Levster says, hey dude, nice to see you. You as well, my friend. WeBleedFPV says, from what I found out, each company has their own testing methods, i.e. Happy Model tests at low voltage, while others test much higher. Some of these reports are hard to compare. Interesting. Happy Model tests at a lower voltage. What does that mean? So at a lower voltage, it's going to turn a lower RPM, which is going to have less rolling resistance, less resistance in the bushing and the bearing. And so if they're testing at a lower voltage and there's less resistance, that would explain it. That would totally explain it. There is less, I don't know what else to call it other than drivetrain loss. Did you guys know that in a car, I actually have to look up the numbers. Hold on. How much drivetrain loss is there with all-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive? There it is. In a car, when a manufacturer specs their horsepower, they say BHP, brake horsepower. That is a measure of horsepower at the crankshaft. That is what the engine makes. You take the engine, you put it on an engine stand, you hook a dynamometer up to the back of the engine. The tail shaft of the, well, no, tail shaft is on the end of the gearbox, but the splines on the end of the crankshaft, and you're measuring the amount of horsepower the engine makes. The motor, the V8 motor. For the record, gasoline engines are engines. They're not motors. An electric motor is a motor. If you take your car to a dyno, a normal dyno, it'll be either a hub dyno where they bolt the thing directly to the hubs, or a chassis dyno where you drive the car up on it and it's got these big ass rollers that the tires roll on. There is a crazy difference between brake horsepower and what we typically call wheel horsepower. There's actually a difference between the hub dynos and the this is the European crowd. So the rolling road dyno. In Europe they call chassis dynos rolling roads a lot of times. There's actually a difference between those two because of the weight of the wheel and tire, and also the tire moves a little bit on the rollers, but we won't get into that. Brake horsepower versus chassis horsepower, though, there's a massive difference. Front-wheel drive cars have a 10 to 15% loss between the engine and the tires. Rear-wheel drive, 10 to 18%. All-wheel drive, 17 to 25%. 17 to 25% of the power that the engine is making is lost when it goes through the transmission into the drive shaft. With an all-wheel drive car, not always, but there's a transfer case, and then more drive shafts to more differentials, down the axles, into the hubs, spin the wheel and the tire package, and then into the dynamometer. Drivetrain loss is insane. Even on like a front-wheel drive car, it just comes out of the crankshaft. Usually there's a set of gears that lowers it's rotating up here. You need to lower it a little bit, or sometimes it's in the rear. I don't know if it's ever in the front. But yeah, it's just, so that's drivetrain loss. Happy Model, by doing their KV testing at a lower voltage, they are going to minimize the drivetrain loss. In an electric motor, the drivetrain loss is really just the weight of the motor bell, because it's always there, right? You always have to push that weight at least a little bit. When you're accelerating the motor, you really have to push that weight. But KV is not tested with acceleration. It's you hit that static RPM and then you just keep turning it. But you're not testing it in space, right? Or in a vacuum, I guess. And so there is a little bit of energy that has to go to keep it spinning that same speed. Much more than that, though, I would assume, is the friction between the motor bell and the bushings or the bearings. I also just realized that Happy Model uses bushings on all their motors. Although that works in the opposite direction of where I'm going here, so we won't talk about that. But yeah, by Happy Model testing at a lower voltage, at a lower RPM, that is minimizing the drivetrain loss. And so that makes sense. Their motors are under-spec'd. The KV that's stamped on the, over-spec'd. The KV that's stamped on the motor is higher than what you actually get compared to everyone else, because that is that way because there's less drivetrain loss. That makes a lot of sense. I am either they're testing at a very low RPM, a very low voltage, and everyone else is testing at a massive voltage, or there's something else going on, because the differences that we're seeing are just gigantic. But man, that makes a lot of sense. Zotek, thank you so much for mentioning that. Yeah, god damn. Also, the amount of energy needed to keep the bell spinning at those higher voltages is going to account more for it. So yeah, there's going to be more drivetrain loss in between the motor shaft and the bushings or the bearings. But also, yeah, if you're cranking that motor up to a high RPM, there's also there's definitely some wind resistance there, right? As the thing spins, it's moving air. Super interesting stuff. Thank you for saying that, Zotek. My God, that really gives us a reason to not just shit talk. Not that, I try not to anyway. But Uriel says next week they produce shirt. Next week better batch in production. No ISO. No control. Yeah, it's super annoying. No standardization whatsoever. Cheetonian said, "Oh, we got that." Justin Miller says, "No, we got that." Uriel says, "We got that." YouTube just did the thing, scrolling back up to try to find my place. Daniel 1964 says, what can I check on a 0702 30,000 kV motor to see if I can fix it? Just throw it away. The tiny whoop motors are so cheap that just throw it away. Buy a new one. There's not a whole lot that you can check. You can desolder the motors from the little PCB and solder on a new set of solder on a new motor connector. That's about it. I mean, if you want to, you can pull the C-clip, pull the bell off, and like take a 5x loop or something that's going to give you magnification and just look at it. But like, yeah, the tiny whoop motors are basically $10 each. What's your time worth? You're going to spend at least an hour dicking around with that thing. And then if at the end of the hour it's still broken, you still have to buy a new one. So, and like these motors typically either work or they don't. And like when they don't work, it's either very obvious, like one of the wires broke off of it, or it's terminally just ruined and just you're back to square one. So the right answer is to just take a look at it, make sure that one of the wires hasn't broken off, and then throw it away. But if you want to dive in, absolutely everything that you can possibly do is putting on a new set of leads, pulling the bell off, and just looking at it. If you have to go any deeper than that, you're going to be rewinding the damn thing, and it's not easy to do that. And now you're getting into multiple hours of work for a $10 motor. Don't do that to yourself. So take a close look at it. Maybe solder on a new set of leads with a new connector. And then at that point, I would bail. I would not pull the bell off. Because, like, if the motor's not jammed up, you're not going to see anything that you can fix. If you pull the bell off and there's a winding that's broken or the enamel is all melted and black, there's nothing you can do about that, right? So, like, soldering on a new set of leads, that's about all you can do. So do that and then bail. Or just bail. Because either a wire is broken or it's not. If the wires are not broken off, it should work. Even if there's just one strand, it should still work. Zabluga says, hi man, would you ever do 2S 2-inch build? If so, what motors will you use? Thanks for all you do. I will be doing one of those. Motors are you're gonna want to be like 1103, maybe even 1104, or maybe like 1203, maybe even a 1303, something like that. KV wise, you're going to want to be like between 14 and 16,000 is going to be my sort of guess. We're going to get to 2-inch stuff. We're going to get there. Uriel says, the operator of the machine is master key. Indeed. Technique says, good afternoon. What's up, brother? Tane RC says, how to shorten motor wires on old school Happy Model 0802 25,000s without cutting the plugs, but there's no PCB. You're not going to do it. You got to have that PCB. Those old school motors, do I have one? I do. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, no, you're not shortening them. The old school motors, without the PCB, the winding material that goes around the stator poles, it exits, and then the motor wire is direct soldered to that under tiny little pieces of shrink wrap. You'll spend hours dicking around with that, and then you won't have a solder joint that's nearly as strong. They're right next to each other. It's incredibly challenging. It is not worth your time. Just deal with the extra long wires or buy a current set of 802s with PCBs for $40. Is going to be the answer that I give you that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. Because yeah, playing that game, you're going to spend at least a couple hours doing that. and then it's just, yeah, it's no good. It's no good. Just deal with the extra wire. Wrap the extra wire up, and eventually that motor will die, and then you can replace it with something new, with a PCB. But, I mean, I guess the answer to your question is to take all the shrink wrap off, and then you'll see that the wire is directly soldered to the winding material, and then you've got to desolder that, you've got to shorten the wires up, and then you've got to figure out how to go. You're going to be soldering wire to wire, which is a terrible idea. This is the worst possible connection. It's so weak. It's very difficult to do cleanly, which is why I'm saying to not do it. But technically, that's how you would do it, is you'd remove all the shrink wrap from there, and then you'll see that they're soldered like this. And you got to desolder it, shorten them up, and redo that. And you got to do it on all three, and they're all going to be right next to each other like this. So you're going to be dealing with trying to solder motor wires and not get them to bridge all right next to it. It's going to suck, and it's going to take you a long time. And at the end of it, you're just going to say, God damn it, I wish I'd listened to Ciotti and just ordered up a current set of motors. Take that motor, and that's your spare. It's got a perfectly good bell on it. Maybe someday you'll pull that bell off and put it on the newer motors that are maybe a higher kV, even to get you some more power. Because Happy Models motors, you can swap bells and stators between any of the same motor sizes. So like all of the 802 Happy Model motors are compatible with one another. There's like 3 different bell designs in 802s, and they all work. They're all interchangeable. It's really, really cool. Daniel Renardson just bought an Air 75. Should I put an external capacitor on the battery lead next to the AIO? Never seen anyone test it, but it seems like a good idea given the small weight penalty. Adding a capacitor is always a good idea. On Tiny Whoops, the problem is there's never a great place to kind of put it, and if it breaks off, it's not great. So you shouldn't have to do that. There's no reason to have to do that. My Air 75 has been completely fine with no capacitor. If you want to do it, it's certainly not going to hurt anything. It's probably not going to help anything either, though. So I would skip it. But yeah, adding capacitors, it'll never make the rigs perform worse until the capacitor breaks. And when the capacitor breaks, the electricity will jump, and it'll make like the flight controller reset and do weird stuff. And I guess maybe it could even fry something. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. You never know. I typically try to not run a capacitor, especially on the smaller stuff. And then if there's too much electrical noise, I'll use a capacitor as like a Band-Aid. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, if you don't need a capacitor, don't run one. Blue Sky FPV says, thanks for the shipping info. You're certainly welcome. Cheetonian says, based on this data and Happy Models labeling of the other motors, the 40,000 should be labeled 44,500 kV. It is that much higher than the 36,000 kV. Jesus. I wish I knew how to do math good. Mape says, what toolbox is that on your desk you're using to organize yourself? This is a Kennedy toolbox that my dad got for me when I was in my 20s, I think. It has been absolutely awesome. They are kind of bougie. So this is a what do they call these? Mechanics? No, not mechanics. There's a specific name for these smaller toolboxes. Machinists. This is a machinist's toolbox, and it's like just the right size. There's my hand, and yeah, it's just the right size for our smaller tools. And then I keep a bunch of these things in here that are kind of organized. It is just awesome, man. Like, it is the perfect size. I've used the shit out of this thing. Everything is, yeah, the drawers are really nice. They pull out very easily. That's what she said. It's got this really cool top part where you can load a bunch of shit up. It's lockable under here, which is important because when you're moving it, the lock holds the damn thing shut. These do a little bit, but with how much weight is in this thing, you really want to lock it when you're moving it. And then it even has, the other thing that you do when you move it is you pull this. Hold on. Never actually showed you guys this part. This is kind of cool. although this is probably a normal thing for all toolboxes like this. It's got one of those things, and when that latches and this locks, it drops pins down into it, so it's secure. There's the instruction manual. Look at me saving things. Oh no, that's that's my old wow, that's the super old soldering iron. That's not even the Weller soldering iron. That's the old soldering iron instruction manual. I don't have that anymore. I did a giveaway for my old soldering iron ages ago. Well, I don't need that. I was gonna say, man, that's a fancy ass toolbox if it comes with a an instruction manual. It also has a bunch of dividers, which are super useful. I don't use them in the bottom part. I don't use them in the top part either. Where the hell are the dividers? There's a divider. Yeah, comes with dividers. Really, really nice. Kennedy. They're not the cheapest, but you're gonna use it. I mean, you're gonna have if FPV is a hobby of yours, you're gonna have other hobbies where you have small tools for the rest of your life. So just go with it and get yourself a machinist's toolbox that's half decent, and you'll live with it forever. Kennedy, yo. It's this interesting like dark brown color. It's a very old person color, but it's okay because then you've just put stickers all over it to spruce it up. Man, we talk some shit up in here, don't we? Cheatonian says, do a test at 3.5 and 4.0 on one motor. Cheatonian, do me a favor. Remind me, and then you're going to be my math guy to figure out what the difference is in drivetrain loss there. That's a great idea. I'm actually going to do the test as extreme as I can. I'm going to do it at 3.5 and then 4.2. And we'll see what the difference is in drivetrain loss. What's a better name? These things don't have a drivetrain. What's a better name than drivetrain loss? I'm sure there's a name for it. Dave Gunna says, "How come you know so much about cars?" I fell in love with cars in high school. My parents handed me down their 87 Fox body notchback Mustang, and yeah, it was just a great platform, and I don't know, I had Hot Wheels and stuff growing up. My dad watched Formula One and Rally and maybe some British touring car when I was very young, and so yeah, the building blocks of a car obsession were there. Once I got my own car, you know, when you learn how to crawl, the amount your bubble that you exist in is very small because you crawl very slowly. And then you learn how to walk and your bubble gets bigger. You learn how to ride a bike, your bubble gets bigger. You get a car, and now you can fucking drive to California from the East Coast if you're really motivated, right? And that I remember that, man. I remember like when I got my license, that was like a thing. It was like, wow, okay, like, and that was for me, for whatever reason, that was very like, oh, it was just very freeing and very like transformative to have that ability to like exist in this world where it's like, shit, I can kind of go anywhere within reason, right? Although at that point you can also drive to the airport and then fly somewhere, so you can literally become a global citizen at that point. And got into fell down the trap in high school of like J.C. Whitney catalogs, buying like stupid shit. And then that led to getting into car audio a little bit, and just terrible show car stuff for a minute, but mainly car audio. my head unit got stolen in college, and I was like, maybe this car audio thing is not the way to go, because like somebody could just break my window at any point and take all of it. Uh, Around the same time, I met a friend of mine, Chris Rayo, who was into imports. Where we are now in like the late 1900s, early 2000s. Um, and Yeah, Chris was into imports, and this is when drifting was just sort of getting noticed at all by like a couple people here in this country. And I really kind of fell in love with that. Uh, Fast forward a couple years out of college, and I found autocross, and just fell head over heels for autocross. The I was really good at it. Uh, I got rookie of the year my very first year of competing, but like just for the driver to be like 95% of the equation, and the car and the amount of money that you spent on the car being only like 5% was fascinating to me. Like the fact that I could just practice this thing and get really good at it and beat people who were showing up with Porsches and you know, Supras and whatever, that and STIs and shit like that. That was fascinating to me, and I really just absolutely fell head over heels for it. I spent the next 8, 9, 10 years with autocross as like my absolute life outside of work. I'm out of college by this point, in my 20s, rolling into my 30s. Won a couple driver of the year trophies, started instructing. I spent like 7 or 8 years as initially an instructor, but then I became the instructor chief of the South Jersey autocross program, like the entire program. Spent a year or two as the co-chair of that program, organizing the events, all that nonsense. I really enjoyed instructing the most, though. Teaching other people how to go fast was just so much fun. And I learned a ton from that. That's the thing that like teachers don't tell you, is that you get a lot better by being a teacher. Learning how to break things down for someone teaches you a lot about like the basics of a thing. Like when you start to get good at stuff, it gets more confusing. You're looking at these more granular things. When you start to instruct it and when you start to teach it, you have to take a big ass step back and break it down into simple little pieces. I guess an example in the motorsport world would be a super easy example would be like how you approach a corner, like your car placement approaching the corner. Usually you want to set up for the corner really wide so that you can hit an apex that's really narrow and then exit the corner really wide. But there's a ton of nuance to that. Basically, in that, what's the corner before it? What's the corner after it? And so when you start to get good at something, you really focus on all that nuance, and you can very easily forget about the building blocks of it. And so when you start to instruct, you have to focus more on those building blocks, because the people that you're instructing are not really good. So that if you get into that super granular shit with them, it'll just go right over their head. And so that was even more fascinating to me, and I got even faster, unbelievably, as I started to instruct more and worry about competing less. And that led to some opportunities at track days and some instruction there. And yeah, my 20s and early 30s were really just like work and make as much money as I can to support the race car habit addiction. And I am just as obsessed with cars nowadays. It's just I don't have the budget that I did back then. And I don't know, like once you get to a certain point, like you don't just pour money into it. It's more like you pour time into it. And so Most of what I watch on YouTube is like Speed Academy, VTech Academy, Gears and Gasoline, like a lot of super nerdy, Jackie Ding, super nerdy motorsport related content. Some other stuff, Car Throttle, I love those guys. Some stuff with those guys are more just like reviewing current models and stuff. I don't. What is that noise? That's not a human noise. What the fuck? What is that? Oh, it's a little birdie. Ah, what are you doing, you little bastard? Oh my god, what the fuck, yo? Wow, that was okay. Hold on, man. All this UFO shit apparently got to me. I thought it was about to be a fucking alien. That was a weird noise. There was a little tiny, maybe chickadee that was, I guess he was digging in the leaves right outside the door there. But it was making a really weird noise. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there you go. There's the answer to your question. So yeah, I over the past like 4 years, I guess maybe, the pricing on sim, I've always been very jealous of folks that could afford sim rigs. Right around the pandemic, the sim racing industry absolutely exploded because the motorsport world completely shut down. And so the pricing and availability of sim rigs became much more realistic, and I now have an awesome sim setup, and that totally scratches the motorsport itch, which is really great because, yeah, it's just infinitely cheaper. Autocross is very inexpensive. Don't get me wrong. You can run a whole season of autocross, for like a couple of $100. To run competitively, $1,000 a year, maybe. Maybe two, which starts to get really expensive. Track days and stuff like that, forget it. You're going to spend $1,000 a weekend. It's outrageous. You got to try to drive somebody else's car as an instructor. That's, part of the draw there. But yeah, there you go. There's the answer to that question. Sorry for such a long-winded answer, but I absolutely love motorsport. Apparently I always have. I grew up with it. And it's been an incredible part of my life. I'm so lucky to have been able to afford to do what I did, and I have tons of great memories. This YouTube channel, started with only car content. Initially, just me dicking around, and then loads of autocross content. So if you go into my channel and you scroll down far enough, you'll find playlists for my '96 Mustang Cobra, which is my second car, and then my '99 Miata. Which someday I'll get back, even some stuff with my current Mazda 2. And so, yeah. If you guys think I know a lot about FPV, I know at least twice as much about cars, because I've been into it for like 3 times as long. Uriel says, maybe they put a prop on there too. I hope not. They definitely don't have a problem there. Referring to Happy Models KV testing. James Thomas says, so I have RCinpower 1002 22,000s and BetaFPV 1102 22,000s. Is this too much for a 2S Walksnail build, even motor limited? Nope. If not, what limit should I start at? Start at 60%. It's going to be too low, but just do it anyway. Start at 60%. Yeah, you're probably going to end up at like 70%, but just to make sure that everything is healthy, start at 60, see how it is. If it has enough power for you at 60, leave it. One of the secrets with FPV is to run the least powerful setup you possibly can, because the less power, the better the throttle resolution. And the better the throttle resolution, the better you will fly, basically. And so, yeah, do that. Weebleed says 2.8. What's that in reference to? Is that the voltage that they... No. That's not the voltage that they do the KV testing at. I think KV testing is supposed to be done at 1 volt. Is that the voltage that they're testing KV at? 2.8? Dave Gunna says, about to order some parts for 2S 75mm whoop. What would you recommend? Frame, prop, flight controller. Dave, here, I'm going to show you a little trick that's going to blow your tits off. Every single channel on YouTube has this. You come in here, you look at the channel, you click the little magnifying glass here, and this will allow you to search only in this person's channel. So if you search my channel for Walksnail 75 2S, this is not it. You want like one of these. Rebuilding the 2S Walksnail 75mm rig again. 2S 75mm build is incredible. All of these 2S 75mm Walksnail live streams, I will talk about the different motors, frames, setups that I have run, and you'll get to take a look at them. So, yeah, these are the live streams you want to check on. And thanks to Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper, they've all got timestamps in them, so you can quickly move through them. Even better, Apache Smoke has his timestamps set here. You can just come in here and read, or you can do like a Control F and search for like frame, and then it'll highlight all of the spots where the word frame has been used, and then you can click and go directly to the different part of the stream. So yeah, there you go. That'll get you going. But basically, BetaFPV 12 amp version 3 AIO, Mobula 7 V3 frame, RCinpower 1002 18 or 19,000 kV motors. BetaFPV's annoying to get a hold of little motor risers. You gotta buy, if you buy an Air 65 or Air 75 frame, it comes with these little motor risers that you're gonna need to use. And then you're gonna need to source M1.4 by 4 motor screws. It gets a little bit annoying there. You can technically not use those motor risers, but you want to. And then I use the Mobula 6 canopy. Yeah, those are the basics of the build. Daniel Renardson says, you ever modify batteries to make them lighter? Nope. Shaving off some of the plastic bulkhead near the connector. I try not to customize stuff at that level because it takes so much time, and the batteries are kind of like disposable. They don't last all that long, and I absolutely hate having to spend a bunch of time modifying stuff and then it goes away or it breaks and then you got to spend more time. I try to do everything as off the shelf as humanly possible so that I'm spending my time flying and improving as a pilot, rather than just sitting here at the bench grinding off plastic and stuff like that. Also, that plastic keeps the battery from sliding out of the battery bay, and when you start to crash really hard, that does start to kind of matter. So yeah, a little bit of laziness, a little bit of time management. As someone that does FPV full time, time management is extremely important. So for me, it's it's not relaxing to sit and do that. It's like I could be doing something else that is hopefully making me some money. 100 Balls, what an interesting YouTube name, says, I'm building a 2S Walksnail after seeing yours and getting inspired. I'm customizing the motor wire color. What all AWG do you recommend? I ordered 22. Don't use that. Also, the best LED mod that isn't too heavy. Okay, so yeah, 22 AWG is way too big. I'm gonna blow your mind and save you a ton of time. Go to tinywhoop.com, search for motor wire, and Jesse's got you covered. He's got all these different colors in motor wires with the connectors already on them. So yeah, just get these. Motor wires for tiny whoops are 30 gauge. You don't need to go. Think of it this way: the battery leads are either 22 or 24 gauge, and there's only 2 of them. Motor wires, there's 12 of the damn things. So 30 gauge is plenty, right? And so there you go. That'll get your colors going. That'll get you some connectors so you don't have to direct solder, which is super annoying. If you are going to direct solder, you can just cut these connectors off. But yeah, support Tiny Whoop. And then your other question about the LED, also on Tiny Whoop, is this awesome little LED pigtail. This is my absolute favorite way of getting an LED onto your Tiny Whoop with no extra weight, no extra wiring, no extra bullshit. It's just a super simple little PCB. Battery wires on one side, BT 2.0 on the other side. Done. Good to go. Super bright. Bunch of different color options. Really, really cool stuff. And there you go. Both questions answered on YouTube. On tinywhoop.com, rather. Cheatonian says friction loss. That's a pretty good one. Iamian Bennett says, hi, miss and love you. Notchback for the win. Hell yeah. Notchbacks for life. Man, are they getting harder to find, though. Dave Gunnis says, amazing, nice story. Christopher Blackledge says, I'm wanting to build a 7 whoop with HD0 light, BetaFPV cross, 1S flight controller, BetaFPV 1102 22,000s. What type of build, would that type of build be too heavy for those motors? Absolutely not. You're pretty dialed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's exactly what I would do, I think, for that build. With 75mm rigs, we don't have a lot of really good motor options. Those BetaFPV 1102 22,000s are arguably the best motor option. They're what I have on my Walksnail 1S 75mm rig. So yeah, they are literally the motors that I have chosen to go with on a build that is almost identical to what you're looking at doing, just with Walksnail instead of HD0. So yeah, you're dialed, brother. Ian Bennett says, I was trying to find an Integra recently. I had a 94 GSR in high school. They're impossible, yeah. Speaking of autocross, always beware of the 50-year-old dudes that show up with a stock Evo, yeah. Yeah, autocross is magic in that regard. Just the most understated, quiet, older dudes will show up with, like, nothing. Christ, we would have guys show up in, like, fucking Corollas and just whoop 80% of the people's asses. It is really, really, really magic. Limits 20 says, have you ever tried a shifter cart? Those things are crazy fast after 15 minutes your arms are done. I've never done shifter carts. I've done a lot of karting. My favorite karting actually is the current generation of electric carts. But you have to find a place that is changing the tires frequently for good grip, and also a place that usually it'll be the same place. If they're willing to change the tires out with semi-decent frequency, they will also have the power turned up on the electric carts. There was a place by me when I lived in Cherry Hill that had, there's a company called Sodi, I believe it's SODI, that makes some of the better performing racing tube frame chassis. And this place had electric drivetrains in the Sodi chassis, and they would change their tires very frequently. The other thing that the other reason that's important is that they don't change all of the tires at the same time. And so when you go to a karting place and you get in a cart and your buddy gets in a cart and he's 4 seconds faster in like a 40-second layout, your cart has shitty ass old tires and his cart has fresh tires. Or if it's, and that's actually one of the other things cool about the electric carts is, like, the other problem with the gasoline engine carts is that the gasoline engines wear at different rates. So your buddy's cart has a fresher gasoline engine and yours has an old whooped one. With the electric drivetrains, that's a lot. There's a lot more parity there, because there's a lot less moving parts in the electric setups. And so we had this place that the carts almost always had really grippy tires on it, and they had the power turned up really nice. And son of a bitch, that was really, really, really fun. Yeah, I had a really good time towards the end of autocross going to that place. They were like right down the street from me too. And so yeah, there were four or five of us that would go that were really, really fast, and we would battle all week long for the top spot out of everyone that was there. So there were like these same like 3 or 4 names that were always on the top 5, and it was super funny because like we would go on different days, and so like I would go like on a Tuesday, and then one of the other guys would go like on a Thursday, and like so sometimes he'd be able to beat me on Thursday, and then I would like fuck with him and like just pop in on a Friday and just knock him back down, and like, because they would reset it every Saturday night, and it was just hysterically fun. Now that I'm here in Atlanta, there is AMP, Atlanta Motorsports Park, who has shifter carts, but I just haven't made it there. The electric carts at this place, we would do 20-minute, I think, enduros, and it wasn't so much my arms, it was my hands. My hands would just be ruined at the end of the enduros. Karting is something else, man. It's a whole different thing. Barrett Thompson says, "Respect, brother. I fell in love with cars and engines at a young age too." Yeah, it's crack, yo. Cars are crack. Bad says, was ready for the... Oh, God. Probe. Henry Digital God Benny says, "Do you watch Top Gear British version? I've seen every single episode of that show multiple times." I discovered Top Gear when I was in college. Early days of college. We're talking like 99, 2000. From... Hold on. Let's see how easy it is to find. This is early days of like video on the internet, right? 1999, 2000. What would I search for? Top Gear Ferrari test to destruction. This will almost certainly find it. Here it is. So I'm certainly not going to play the audio, but that's probably all you need to see. Hold on. You might need to see that. Wait, no, hold on. You might need to see that part right there of the engine exploding, or of the fire suppression system going on. But this clip, this is a very, very, very early days Top Gear clip that, with Jeremy Clarkson doing a voiceover saying like, this man is testing the new Ferrari 550 Maranello, which is one of my favorite Ferraris of all time. Testing the new Maranello to destruction, and the engine blows up. And then Jeremy goes, "How on earth do you get a job like that?" That clip popping up on the internet back then, I was like, "Oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever." And so I looked it up and figured out that this was early days of BBC Top Gear, and then that rolled into the LimeWire era of, and I was able to find torrents of season 1, season 2, season 3 Top Gear, and I was just all the way in, all the way obsessed, and have been ever since. I followed those guys all through their careers. And yeah, I've got a folder on a hard drive somewhere here with every season of Top Gear, every special, everything that I could ever find over like a 20+ year period, right? I'm 43 now. College, you're what, 20, 21, 22. And yeah, so with torrents, with Pirate Bay, with LimeWire, with everything ever, I've always found every single possibly thing I can with James, Jeremy, and Richard. I have a ton of their books. Yeah, I'm obsessed with those guys. Always have been. For many, 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 many years when Top Gear was on Netflix, I would put it would be what I would fall asleep to, and it would just roll, and just all 20 plus seasons over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, many Top Gear episodes I can damn near recite top to bottom. It's been a giant part of my life forever. It's just magic. If even if you're not into cars, you should watch Top Gear. It is some of the best it is some of the best unscripted television ever. They've won so many awards over the years for being the best unscripted television show on TV. It's absolute magic. Dave Gunna says, "How did you get from autocross to FPV?" I couldn't afford motorsports anymore, to be totally honest, and I was looking for a new obsession, and a friend of mine that I no longer speak with sent me a drone, and I was fascinated by how stable it was in the air. It had an early days PID loop, and that was it. Just seeing, it was actually a line of sight rig, and just seeing how like locked in space it was and how reactive it was. I was all the way in, and then I found out you could put cameras on them, and away we went, which was cool because that tied into I went to school for TV radio, and so like that filmmaking ish background, it really woke that part up in me. This was when I was shooting a lot of still photography too, so it was like, wow, okay, I can get back into moving images, but with full control of putting a camera anywhere at any speed, and that just, it all kind of clicked. Weebleed says 2.8 volts. Yes. Wow. So interesting. Happy Model is testing their KV at 2.8 volts. Interesting. And everyone else is testing at a higher voltage. That's the really weird part. Apparently you're supposed to test KV at 1 volt. Dave Gunna says, thanks, I did not know about that search function. Dude, you and like everyone else, myself included, I didn't know that was a thing until like last year. It is awesome being able to search just on someone's channel, and it searches the titles, and it also seems to search the comments, which is awesome. It really digs. It's a magic. Diane Noodle says, trying to build a whoop in the EU, I can buy Happy Model 28,000 kV and BetaFPV 30,000 kV motors, or RCinpower 29s. But I've heard that they are inefficient. Which motors do you recommend for 65 millimeter? The Happy Model 28,000 kVs are going to perform like a 25 or a 26,000 kV, but they're going to be very efficient. So if you want the longest possible run times, get the Happy Models. The BetaFPV 30,000 kVs are going to perform like a Happy Model 32,000 kV. So you're going to get loads of power, but you're going to sacrifice runtime. RCinpower 29s are probably somewhere in between. So there you go. That's how you decide. What do you want? Runtime, power, both. Dave Gunna says, please tell us about your FPV journey. Dave, do me a favor. I would love to, but it is, good God, it is 4:45 already. I haven't done any of the testing that I've wanted to do. Come to another live stream and ask me as early in the stream as possible, and I'll hit you with it. But I gotta get caught up on chat here and dive into some of this testing. What's awesome though is that I've done a bunch of this already. This is gonna save my ass here, having all of these already done, and we're gonna retest a couple of them. But yeah, Striker's in the house. He says, no, long time no see. Been super busy with school, getting into karting. I wish it wasn't expensive as it was. Even rental karting is a lot, but that's motorsports for you. It is indeed. Boy, is it fun though. Limits 20 says, if you have a chance to try a shifter cart, just do it. Pretty sure you never felt anything like it. It's really wild. Yeah, I will for sure. At some point, I will absolutely get into a shifter cart. It's just, yeah, at the moment, all my focus is on FPV. Trigger says, luckily a week or two I got to test a cart with an Iame X30 Senior. I don't know enough about karting to know that. It was a lot of fun, but owner karting is so expensive. Yeah. It is, especially if you want to try to be even remotely competitive. I'm Ian Bennett says that 550 destruction clip is second only to the guy ripping the rough yellow bird around the Nürburgring and loafers. Yeah, there's a lot of really old school, motorsport content that's just like epic beyond the meaning of the word. I don't know what that means. All right, I'm caught up on chat. We're gonna do some of this testing. 4 volts of output is going to be put through this adjustable power supply here. Just need to plug these banana plugs in. All right. 4 volts over there. I've got 6 rigs here. Let's just dive in. BetaFPV. What are you? 0702, 27,000 kV. These are the 0702 SE motors. I don't remember if these are the ball bearing or the bushing motors, but it doesn't really matter too much. 0702 SE, the blue and silvers, 27,000 kV. Let's see how this stacks up to these other motors that I've tested. Nope. Let's retest something really quick. We're going to retest... do I have anything on an X12? I do have an X12 sitting right here. Let's retest a couple motors just to make sure that this spreadsheet is dialed in. I'm going to take an 0603 30,000. I don't actually know if this is going to work. I'm going to have the motors just hanging. I think this will work because I do have an 0603 30,000. By the way, that is a prototype motor. Don't try to look and find and buy those. They don't exist. Here is an 0702 32,500. Great, that's on that list. We can retest that real fast. Let's just get our a control going here real quick. Did I test 34,000s? Happy Model 0702 34,000s. This is another prototype motor. Don't try to find this. It doesn't exist. All right. And then here's a 36,000. I obviously tested those. Yeah, 0702 36,000. Awesome. All right, so this is the same AIO, X12. One of the channels on this AIO might be blown up. I don't remember. But it might not even matter for KV testing like this where the motor is unloaded. Look at this ridiculous little setup that I got right now. Okay, here we go. Plugging in. Wait, no, let's launch Betaflight. We're going to need that. All right, Betaflight's coming up. And I'm going to move this power supply forward a little bit so I have room. And, okay, BT 2.0 is plugged in. And I should just be able to kind of like hold this thing up with my hand. Eventually Betaflight will launch, and in theory, I'll be able to spin these up just hanging. Don't ever do this with bigger motors than this. A bigger motor, if you spin it up without it bolted down to the frame, it'll rotate and like rip the wires off, and it's bad. But I think with tiny whoops, we'll be okay. About to find out. Motor 1. What is motor 1? There's motor 1. What are you, little guy? Motor 1 is a 0702 32,500. So we're going to go page up, page up, page up, page up, page up. That's 50% throttle. And I am seeing between 59 and 60,000 kV. 59 to 60,000 kV. Son of a bitch. Previously, it was 56,000 kV. Let's keep going. We're doing 50% because there's a hard limit on the amount of RPM that 8-bit ESCs can spin a motor to. We don't fly these things without propellers on, so it doesn't matter in actual flight. Motor 2 is a 36,000 kV tiny whoop motor. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. Let the weirdness begin. This is only, well, it's ramping up. It's ramping up. Now it's at, initially it was only at 60,000 kV. Now it's up to 64. It's bouncing back and forth between 63 and 64,000 kV. Oh, God. All right, well, this is all over the place. Next up is... in fairness, last time I was testing these motors bolted down to a frame, they are now turning much higher KVs not bolted down to a frame. This is now going to be a 603 30,000. 603 30,000 is on motor 4, right? Yeah, motor 4. Okay, page up for power. Oh, good. One motor that's not completely wrong. Oh, nope, it is completely wrong. I'm getting between 59 and 60,000 kV. Previously, it was only 56. Last motor we're testing is an 0702 prototype 34,000 kV. Expectation is 58,000. I have a feeling it's going to be much higher than that. It's showing 60. It's bouncing between 59 and 60. That's the closest one yet. Although I can hear it starting to ramp up. Now it's getting up to between 60 and 61. I'm not surprised that they're ramping up a little bit like this. They're just, yeah, warming up a little bit. Wow, okay, so that's all over the place. Good God. Okay, so give me a second to think about this. I think what we need to do is start a new Google Doc. Yeah, this is raw RPM that I'm giving you guys. That's what Betaflight reports. You could technically do your own calculations to figure out the KV. I'm testing these at 4 volts. I think that's all you need to know. Yeah, these are getting, well, 4 volts at 50% throttle. So we're kind of giving them 2 volts, and KV is calculated at 1 volt. So the math is probably pretty simple. I'm not going to do the math because I'm not a math guy, but somebody in chat probably will. Wow, so one of two things was happening. The AIO that I was using on the previous testing was not putting out enough, was just not pushing hard enough. I don't know why. That shouldn't be the case. Or, more likely, they were bolted down to a frame that was either dragging on the C-clip a little bit, or there's something about bolting them down to the frame that makes them spin slightly lower RPMs. Man, I really hate when we lose the control like this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start a new. I'll start a new tab. I'll start a new sheet in here, and I would love to put a date on this, but that's fine. I'm gonna grab this, copy it, paste it into the new sheet, and I'm gonna put today's date. 11/17/2024. And Jesus. Weebleed says balancing. I doubt it. I doubt it. Could be, because how in or out of balance a motor is, it's gonna, if a motor is out of balance, here's the bushings, here's the motor shaft. If it's out of balance, it's gonna bounce back and forth and create more friction. When I did that previous testing, though, I did check multiples of the same KV motor, and they gave very controlled RPMs. I don't know why these numbers are so far off from previous, but okay. I've got 702 40,000 kV Weebleed motors on this. This is a BetaFPV cross style F4 AIO. This is a Happy Model X12 AIO. Let's check these against one another. I need another 40,000 kV motor. Wow, this just got so much more confusing. Hold on. No. We're going to do this one instead. These are the 36,000 kV motors on an Iflight Blitz AIO. I've already got a 36,000 kV motor on this X12. Can somebody rewind back and tell me what the RPM that this 36,000 kV motor was just reporting was? That way I don't have to retest that. I'm going to go directly into this. Somebody say I'll do it in the chat so a bunch of you don't do it, because you're going to have to rewind unless somebody remembers. But yeah, let's check this Iflight. This is me trying to confirm whether or not the AIO is going to affect these RPM readings. So we've got the Iflight Blitz. Let's plug it into power. I've got one of these 36,000 kV motors without the propeller on it. Let's spin it up and see what we get. All right. And motors tab. I understand the risks. Motor 1. 50% throttle. I think this is the same. 60,000. I think I remember seeing 60,000. And then it's ramping up a little bit to between 60 and 61. What the hell just happened? It just jumped up to 64,000. The motors do seem to, as they warm up a little bit, just like an engine, they seem to make slightly more RPM. Yeah, now it's bouncing back and forth between 63 and 64,000 RPM. 63 and 64,000. Cheatonian says 60,000. Oh my god. Okay. So the Iflight Blitz is making 3,000 to 4,000 more RPM than an X12. Okay. Sure. Well, I'm going to take this motor off the Iflight AIO, and I'm going to plug it into the X12. And we're going to see. God damn it, dude. God damn it. So help me God, if this motor doesn't spin up to 63 or 64,000 RPM, I'm going to shit a pancake. No, these should both be on 48K. Just thinking maybe it's a PWM related thing. There's a falcon outside screaming away. All right. This motor made 63, 64,000. I'm going to swap it in. to this Happy Model X12. There's my box of prototype motors. I'm going to spin the other 36,000 kV motor up here. And then I'm going to spin this one up. So this is on motor number 4. I'm going to spin up motor 2 versus motor 4. Motor 4 is the one that I just pulled off. Let's do that one first. Motor 4 on the X12. Oh, I gotta plug the damn thing into Betaflight. That would help, wouldn't it? Okay. There we go. Motors tab. Motor 4 first. You son of a bitch. Oh my god, why? Why is it only turning 60,000? Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Yeah, warm up, you little bastard. Come on, get to 6. There it is, 64. Okay. Whoo! Okay, good. Good. Okay. Motor 2 is the other 36,000 kV motor. Let's spin it up and see what happens. Maybe this is the channel that's blown up on this ESC. You never know. Ah, yeah. Keep going, you bastard. 64,000. There it is. Woo! Okay, good. I think what I've learned here is that we need to let these motors spin for a second. Ooh, Cheetonian with a $2 super chat. He says I was wrong. It was 64K before. Awesome. Okay, great. Thank Jeebus. Motor 4 was here. Let's pop this off and put it back onto the, oh boy, the Iflight Blitz build. All right. Thank God, man. Jeez. Okay, so yeah, I need to let these motors spin for a second to get some heat into the bushings, I guess. Whew. Okay, good. That would have, if I would have just stopped at that point, and then we would have done another live stream comparing all of the AIOs to see which AIOs make more power on the same set of motors. Okay, good. So also what we just tested is 5 amp FETs versus 12 amp FETs. This Blitz AIO is on 5 amp FETs. The X12 is 12 amp FETs. Thus the name X12. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled testing. BetaFPV 0702 28,000s, 27,000s, 0702 27,000s. And I guess I can go back to the original sheet here. I don't have to use this other sheet. That's great. So let's insert one row. Nope. We're gonna go here. Yeah, there we go. So BetaFPV 0702 27K. How do I copy the formatting? Where's the formatting? Let me copy the formatting, you jackass. Ah! Where is it? It's up here. I can probably just clear that. Fuck you. Ah! Oh my god, you bastard, you. There we go. Copy, paste. Beautiful. All right. This is the main thing that I'm wanting to check is these BetaFPV 702s. I am gonna recheck. Wait a second. I made that second sheet because I'm seeing much higher. Oh, I'm so dumb. I completely forgot why I set that second sheet up. I need to set that second sheet up again. What a dick. Ooh, God, why? Ooh, fuck you, world. All right. All right. Just give me 1 second. You guys didn't want to do anything today, did you? You just wanted to like sit here and watch me fuck around with Google Sheets? Good Lord. 11, 17. I can never say 17 without hearing Borat say it. Okay. 11, 17, 24. That's fine. These all gotta go. These all gotta go. We're still using 4 volts. Does that bring the formatting over? It sure does. Okay, that's fine. We're good. We're gonna test a bunch of these. We're gonna add some. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. BetaFPV 0702 27,000 kV. Here we go. It is bolted down to a frame. Oh, I'm gonna test the bolted down to a frame thing in a second. Right now, it's bolted down to a frame. Let's see what it does. I understand the risks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 50% throttle. It's vibrating like crazy against the desk. 56,000. Let's see if it ramps up as it warms up. Yep, sure does. All the way up to 59 now. I have never noticed that before. That is insane. 59, now it's knocking on the door of 60. This feels ultra abusive. Let me just touch the motor bell to make sure it's not getting screaming hot. No, it's fine. Why don't tiny whoop motors get hot? This will be interesting. It's had like 4 seconds to cool down. Let's see what it's back down to 56. Could be the FET's warming up too. I doubt it, but you never know. And now it's back up to 59 and 60. So I just have to let them sit here for until it stops gaining, and it has stopped gaining. So it looks like we're good. The motor just became a lot smoother. That was weird. 59,000. I'm going to say 59,500. 59.5 because it was bouncing back and forth between 59 and 60. Now I'm going to unscrew it from the frame, and we're just going to let it hang and see if that changes anything. So help me God, if it does, I quit. You guys can have all my stuff. I'm done. Here we go. The moment CiottiFPV stopped doing FPV things. Oh, thank God. 59, 60, 59, 59, 59, 5, 59, 5. Oh, thank God. Okay. Bolting it down to a frame. I'll fucking betcha. Yeah. Because what was it? It was like 55 or 56. And then it ramped all the way up to 60. That is roughly the difference that we're seeing between that old testing and today. And so what I wasn't, and I remember this, in the old testing, I was ramping the motor up, looking at it, shutting it off. Because I was doing a ton of different motors. So what okay, great. Unfortunately, I can't just like add 4,000 or 5,000 RPM to that old testing. So we do have to keep this on the new sheet. But now we know. Now we know that if we're going to do this testing, yeah, the motor is getting a little warm. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that I have to let the damn thing sit. I mean, I'm only spinning it up to 50% throttle, which is good. I would really not want it to sit at 100. But this feels a little abusive of the motor. But I mean, I have to assume that once there's a propeller on it and it's being hurtled around the room, that there's way extra abuse, way more abuse. Wow, I have just... Words are hard, my friends. Words, they are hard. All right, so that's good. We've this has been like proper fucking myth busting. I did not expect any of this. I named the stream myth busting just to try to get you guys to click. Did it work? Did it work? You're goddamn right it worked. I need to fix this canopy before it breaks the UFL off this guy. All right, so cool. BetaFPV has been tested at 27,000 kV. Now we can start flying through these. Let's stay on the BetaFPV train. This is the Air 65 Champion. We're gonna test the 30,000 kV motors. Ooh, I can't wait to see what these do compared to the 27,000s. Because I don't know, man. I have a weird feeling that these Champion motors are magical unicorn dust. But like, why would they underspec them? That doesn't necessarily make any sense to me. Whatever. We'll get to see in a second. Motors tab, motor 1. I understand the risks. Page up for power. Who knows what that means? Who knows what that's referencing? Who knows what page up for power is referencing? 64,000, 63,000, 64,000, 65, 64, 63, 64, 64, 64. It's pretty steady on 64. What's interesting about that is that this is a bearing motor. This is a fresh bearing motor. Oh, now it's up to 64.9. Let's see if it hits 65. Nope. It'll just touch 65 every once in a while, but then it's also dropping down to 63 every once in a while. So this is going to be 64. I'm going to call this 64,000 kV. Insert a row below. 64,000 kV. And this is... Ah! Get back here. This is BetaFPV 0702 30,000. BFPV 0702 30. Okay. So, 27,000 kV is cranking away at 59,500. 30,000 is at 64. So it's looking like BetaFPV is relatively dialed in with their measurements between their motors, right? So this is with this calculation, 59,500 kV with that 4.0 volts. 29,750. So the actual kV is a little bit higher than the rated kV. And then same deal here. 30,000 kV rated, 32,000 kV actual. Tracks, right? 27 up to 29, 2,750 extra, only 2,000 kV extra here. But in both cases, the actual kV is higher than what we're seeing at 50% throttle with 4 volts going into the jib jab. Oh, good call. Cheetonian says test at a different voltage. Let me do that on the next one. Let's just keep rolling. I want to test as many of these as I possibly can. It's the weirdest bark I've ever heard this dog produce. Champion Edition is back put together. We're going to fly this in a little bit here. I just want to get some more of this testing done. BetaFPV 802. let's try these 802s on the Air 75. These are 802 23,000 kV. We're going to test this on the different... Oh, look, I've already tested. I already have this one on here. I've already tested these motors. We're going to test this at the different voltages. Okay. USB-C. What an emotional roller coaster this live stream has been. Okay. Ow, Jesus! That antenna, the tip of the antenna gets so hot. Fucking A. God damn. I just got cooked. I'm gonna ramp this down. Fuck it. I'm gonna go all the way down to 3.6. 3.6 volts. Motor number 1. Cheatoni, you ready to do the math? I'm not going to log this on the sheet. Motor number 1. Let's see. Page up for power. Wow, look how low that is. 36 to 37,000 kV. I can hear it ramping up a little bit more. Solidly at 37,000 kV. 3.6 volts on the power supply. 37,000 kV. All right, and now we're going to ramp the power supply up to 4.2. The weed number. There we go. 4.2 volts. Oh, actually, you know what I want to do? Watch this. 50% power. 44,000 kV. Cheatonian, if you want to be a super overachiever, check this out. It's bouncing up to 45,000 kV, though. Call it 45,000 kV. Watch this. I can ramp the power down. So 4.2. I'm going to go down by 0.1. So the next is going to be 4.1, then 4.0. Ready? So 45,000 kV. 42,500 kV. Why did that not change? I just took 0.1 of a volt away and it didn't change at all. 42,000. Take another 0.1. I could hear it change. I'm now at 3.9 volts and it's given me 40,000 kV. 3.8. It's still at 40,000 kV. Oh, this is fucked. Okay. Watch this. Watch this. You're going to hear it. I'm going to shut up so you can hear it. I hope you can hear it. This is 3.8 volts. You're going to hear it bounce to 3.9, and then I'm going to keep going. And watch the RPM. Okay, it is changing a little bit. It's changing here. It's not changing from 40 to 41, which I would expect. Hear the difference? That's me going down 0.1 of a volt. Back up. Up another 0.1 to 4 volts. 4.1. 4.2. 4.1. 4.0. 3.9. I do not love how little the RPM is changing. It is changing, though. It's just not... I don't feel like it's changing enough. Which calls into question the accuracy of the RPM. Cheatonian says go down to 2.8. I don't think I can... I don't think it'll run the... I don't think it'll run the AIO that low. I'll try it, though. Oh, it will. I'll be damned. 2.8 volts, 28,000 kV. 2.9, 3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 4.1, 420. There you guys go. There's the full ramp. I'm going back down to 4, and I'm going to continue the testing. What did you guys just see? I wasn't even looking at the RPMs. But you guys, you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? Like the RPM is not, it is changing. It's like when I go, sometimes when I go down by 0.1, it'll just barely change. And then I go down another 0.1 and it'll change by like 2,000. Is that weird? Isn't that weird? I have tested multiple motors on the same rig. They're pretty dialed. Sometimes they're not exact, but they're pretty damn close. The margin of error here is a bit much. But what is nice is like when I test a 28,000 and a 30,000, there's a difference. There's a difference. So I think we're still doing okay here. Let's keep going. This is interesting. Did I say interesting or did I say frustrating? Let me get caught up on chat. Uriel says, Teddy noticed your nasty blackbird on the window or a ghost. You have too many parameters. You go drunk on data. Yeah. Teutonian says, yes. Frank Nicholas says, ramp the voltage up and watch the change live. There you guys go. I wasn't watching the change, though. I'm relying on you guys a little bit. I watched, kind of. Bad says, could it be the battery sag comp in Betaflight leveling out the RPM? Nope. The motors tab takes the PID loop completely out of the equation. It even takes the motor limiting out of the equation. If you have if you have like motor limiting at like 50 or 60%, be careful in the motors tab because it does not care about that motor limiting. That motor limiting is involved with the PID loop. Motors tab does not run the PID loop. There's no reason for it to. Uriel says, electric static discharge. Do you have wool carpet? Check on production floor what they think about it. What? Joe Presto says, have you tested? Oh, we got that. Cheatonian says, they're all reasonably close in terms of calculated KV. The RPM reporting bouncing makes it different. Yeah, difficult. Yeah. Cheatonian says, but 2.8 is the lowest calculated KV. 4.2 is the highest. Okay, so Cheatonian, what I'm hearing is that at the different voltages, it's close enough. That's good. That is good. Let's keep going because we need to test some more Happy Model motors to really compare them to BetaFPV and VCI and yada yada yada. This guy's done. Big boy motor, 1102 BetaFPV. Just for the sake of for funsies. It's sitting here. Let's test it. I'm not going to show you guys the motors tab anymore because I have to zoom in and it's just annoying. I'm just going to tell you the number and then add it to the sheet. God damn it. I didn't put that on the sheet. What? Fuck that motor, whatever. We don't need to put it on the sheet. It's fine. Can somebody say I'll do it and go check what that motor turned RPM wise at 4 volts, please? I would like to put it on the sheet. This is 1102, 22,000 kV. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is BetaFPV 1102, 22,000. I do have it on the sheet here. Give it a second to warm up. Bouncing between 39 and 40,000. 39 and 40, 39 and 40, 39 and 40. I'm not seeing any 41s. It seems like the 0702s, for whatever reason, need to warm up. These bigger motors don't seem to need to warm up. So between 39 and 40, call it 39,500. BetaFPV 1102, 22,000. Cool. Next. is... this is the Walksnail rig. That's on BetaFPV F4 cross style AIO. Hey. Ooh! Ooh! Hand wound 36,000 kV motors. Yeah, buddy. Okay, these are from Cloudhopper. Ooh, this is going to be cool. This is going to be very cool. Hold on. Let's check one more Walksnail rig. 40,000 kV motors. Let's see what 40,000 kVs. Cheetonian says, yeah, close enough. All right, cool. Uriel says, ESD handling of PCBs is necessary if you handle them like you do. Where are we at here? ESD stands for electrostatic discharge. Ooh, this is going to be cool. I'm excited to see what this does. 40,000 kV. Wait a second. No, it's not. These are 32,500s. What? When did I put such low kV motors on here? Okay. Whatever. We need to test this. Anyway. 32,000 kV 0702s from Happy Model. Connect. Alright, Betaflight's getting cranky. Let's relaunch it. Manan Aurora says, do you have DJI O4 Lite? No one has DJI O4 Lite. It is not out yet. There we go. Page up for power. Wow, you can really hear the motors ramp up. Could you hear that? Hold on. I'm going to shut up. See if you can hear this. I don't know. It might be warmed up by now, but let's see if you can hear it. Ready? It's already warmed up. Next motor, I'll let you guys hear it. That's wild. I can hear it now, though. It just wound up a little bit more. 55,000, 56,000. It is very solidly sitting at 56,000. Yeah, 56,000. 56,000. Good God, look at the difference. Oh my God, look at the difference. Holy shit, dude. Oh wow. Yo, that is absolutely insane. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous, dude. 32,000 kV motor turning 56,000 RPM. 30,000 kV motor turning 64. What the hell, yo? That is insane. That is absolutely insane. God, that is so frustrating. All right. Walksnail. Drift car chasing 65. Now let's go. I really want us to spin up a set of 40,000 kV motors, though. So hold on, let's do that. This is the other Walksnail rig. This is the freestyle rig, and it does have 40,000s on it. So let's crank this fucker up. Crank it up, fucker! Why do I have one single Gemfan biblade sitting on the table here? What rig was that? Oh, here it is. Like, wait a second. Something ain't right here. Let me just put this back real quick. There we go. All right. Excellent. All right, man. 40,000 kV motor. Will the Happy Model 40,000 kV motor be able to match the actual RPM output of a BetaFPV 30,000 kV motor? Is 40,000 kV enough? Oh boy, if it isn't, somebody's getting smacked with a chair. 4 volts of input. here we go. It has to be. And I've flown these 40,000 kV motors enough to kind of know that, like, yeah, they make gobs of power. But I can't wait to see how close it's going to be. And listen to this thing ramp up. I'm going to page up a bunch of times. I'm going to page up 5 times to get to 50% throttle, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then I'm going to stop and listen to this fucking thing ramp up as it warms up, I guess. Ready? $70,000 RPM. It's bouncing between 69 and 70. Just like my Friday nights. 70,000. Thank God. 70,000. All right. Oh, and you know what? 70,000 kV is what it turned previously, isn't it? It sure is. So that's good. We're a little bit of repeatability. Jesus. Okay. So, and also this motor did not ramp up very much. It ramped up a tiny little bit, but not nearly as much as some of these other motors, which is very odd. These, I don't know what that is. I wonder if it's motors like older motors with, I don't know what that is. That's very strange. Let's keep going though. Let us keep going. RCinpower 1002 22,000s, right? Yeah, 1002 22,000s. Get a prop off here. Spin them up. The bigger motors seem way more reliable. Is that the word? Consistent. Consistent is the word. RCinpower 1002 22,000s. What are they going to do? What will they do? Not modes, motors. Page up for power. 38,000, 37,000. It is bouncing back and forth between 38 and 37, and it's not ramping up. And it is just bouncing. So I'm going to call this one 37,500. 37,500. Look at that. RCinpower 22,000 kV versus BetaFPV 22,000 kV. RCinpower coming in at 37,500. BetaFPV 39,500. So that right there starts to show us that BetaFPV, yes, I think that Happy Model, because they're testing at a lower voltage, they are overrating their motors. But what we're starting to see is that BetaFPV is underrating their motors, which makes total sense, because when we compare Happy Model to BetaFPV, the difference is asinine. So RCinpower is probably closest to being right than anyone else. Go figure, right? Like, RCinpower makes awesome stuff. It would stand to reason that their ability to properly stamp, they have a much better ability to properly stamp a KV onto their motors. I am very excited about this, though. This is a custom build that Cloudhopper sent me with hand-wound 36,000 kV 0802 motors based on the Happy Model RS 0802s. I don't remember what Cloudhopper does to measure the KV, but I bet you it's damn near perfect. Let's take a look. This is cool too because this will somewhat validate this estimated KV column here. So we're gonna go. Let me do this. So these are 36,000 kV on a happy model base. So let's go in here and we're gonna insert one row below. I'm just gonna copy this, paste that out, and then change this to 36,000. Okay, cool. So now the calculation will work. Ooh, buddy. This is gonna be cool. Here we go. Motor 1 is free. Hooking up voltage. And let's see what happens. Not modes, motors. Page up for power. $59, $60. 59, 59, 59. I think that's about right, isn't it? 59, 60. 59, 59. 59,000. Oh, whoa, whoa. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Okay. That is interesting. So what that absolutely nails down is that different methods of measuring KV are all fucking over the place. Cloudhopper has a way that he's measuring it, which is almost certainly... I bet you the way that he's measuring it is close to the way Happy Model is measuring it, right? Because it's... He thinks this is his method is showing this to be a 36,000 kV. Yeah, I think I wish he was here. I think Cloudhopper is measuring the KV at 1 volt, which is even lower than Happy Model. And this is a 36,000 kV motor that's actually only turning 29,500 kV from the testing, the weird testing setup that we're doing here. And so, boy, oh boy, does that nail down the fact that, you know, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that I've been saying forever, which is that you can only compare within the company. If you're on a Happy Model 30,000 kV motor and you want more power, the only guarantee that you've got is that if you get a Happy Model 32,000 kV motor, you're going to get more power. If you go to a hand wound motor, if you go to any other manufacturer's motors, all bets are off. The KV only makes any sense within each manufacturer. And we're even seeing that RCinpower it's not just like Happy Model versus the world. Happy Model is different. RCinpower is different. BetaFPV is different. We're going to check VCI in a minute. We're going to check sub 250 in a minute. That's, wow. That's, I did not expect that. I did not expect that. This is a motor with what appears to be... Cloudhopper told me this, but I forget what he said. This is a motor that has 5 windings and 6 windings. Certain stator poles have 5, certain ones have 6. To give you some idea, in order to get 36,000 kV, which actually in this weird testing ends up only spinning up to 29,500 kV, it's only 5 and 6 wraps around the stator pole. We can't just wrap the stator pole like once. Like we are getting to the absolute upper limits of KV. This is insane, dude. I mean, this is what happens when you push stuff to the limit. I think this is probably also why it took so long to get the KV up this high. And Happy Model for a long... Tiny Whoop was asking Happy Model for higher KV motors a long time ago, and Happy Model was saying, no, we won't do it. And this starts to really explain why. They probably knew. They'd probably tried it, and they're like, yo, this is a disaster. The KVs are all over the place. We're winding each stator pole 5 times, which is going to introduce, like, the less winds, the more uncertainty, the less control you've got, which we're definitely seeing. Holy hell, dude, this is a fucking nightmare. This is insane. Okay. I did not expect it to be this bad. I had a feeling it was going to be a little bit of a mess, but this is a lot. This is a lot of a mess. Let's keep going, though. So I've got this wacky little guy with a bunch of motors just hanging off it all gangly. Let's fire this up again. What do I got on here? I got a 36. We'll do all 702s. I've got a 32.5, a 36, and a 34 prototype. Do I have another? Oh, here's a VCI 702. Perfect. Okay. So let's fire this little octopus up again. I consider it very mature of myself that I didn't say octopussy a minute ago. Very demure of me. All right. The octopussy is hooked up. I won't make that mistake twice, though. Don't you guys worry. Cheetonian says Cloudhopper's 802 is very similar to the 36,000 kV Happy Model 0702. That makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like we're starting to learn some things, but still, boy, this is a mess. Motor 1, what are you? Motor 1 is a Weebleed 1.5 millimeter motor shaft 0702 32,500. Paging up for power. Yo, these 702s, man, they like. It's all the way up to 60,000 now. It just touched 61, 61, 60, 61, 60. So I'm going to call this 60,500. Nope, it just hit 62. It's back down. 61 and 60, it's bouncing back and forth constantly. 61 and 60. Call that 60,500. Oh, God, what the fuck? No! No! What? Why? So this is a fresh 32,500. What the fuck? 60,500. Oh, dude, this is insane. Let's just keep going. Here's a 36,000 kV motor 2. There's a really cool little gyroscopic effect when these things are spinning on just the wire. Oh, that's cool. I never noticed that before. Yo, hold on. I'll get a camera on in a second, but let me get the RPM metering. Oh, dude, that is so cool looking. 64, pretty solidly at 64. It just touched 63, but it's really solidly at 64. I'm calling it 64. 64,000. Look at this, yo. Look how cool this is. What a super interesting little example of both of these cords are stretched as far as they'll go. But check this out. I'm going to spin the VCI motor up to show it to you. So that's what happens when each time I page up. There's 50%. Look at this though. Ready? Yeah, look at that little buddy. Gyroscopic effect exemplified. That is very cool. 52,000, 51,000, 52,000, 51,000, 52, 51, 52. This is a bearing motor. 51, 52. I'm going to call it 51.5. 51.5. Hold on. I can just type it in so that I can remember it. This is an 0703. 27,000. Do I have that on here? Yeah, I do. 23,500. 51,500. Rated KV 23.5, kind of actual KV 25.7. So another motor that's under spec. Let me make sure it's actually 23,500 stamped on the bell. Pretty sure, but yeah, 23,500. Last one is the prototype Beta Tiny Whoop 0702 34,000, which is motor 3. Understand the risks. Motor 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. 58,000, 59, 60. It's going to hit 61 in a second. I can hear it ramping up. There's 61. When will it stop? 60, 61, 62, 64. What the hell just happened? 61, 62, 61, 63, 61, 60, 61, 60, 63 again, 61, 60, 61, 60. All right, call it 60,500. 60,500. Prototype motor. Again, prototype. Very interesting. It's turning the same RPM as the new 0702 32,500 kV motor. So interesting. I'm cool with that. So the new We Bleed Screamers with the 1.5mm motor shaft are more accurate than the old Screamers with the 1mm motor shaft. That's a good thing, right? I ain't mad about that. Let's unplug all 4 of these. We'll hook 4 more motors up to this X12. This is nuts, dude. The variability here is a bit much. But with each of these manufacturers, if it's stamped with a higher KV, it does turn a higher number. So that's good. Cheetonian says the fact Rosser is working with RCinpower on his custom motors make me think they're probably pretty spot on. Yeah, RCinpower they're just doing it right. James Thomas says, so those HQ ultralight 0.9 pitch props are 1mm shaft, good for which motors? KV cutoff to be too low. High KV motors, James. I mean, look, here's the real answer, though. Tiny Whoop propellers make a drastic difference in flight, and they're very inexpensive. And there's only 4 that are worth a shit. So buy them all. The old school HQ ultralights, the new 0.9 pitch HQ ultralights, the Gemfan 1210 biblades, and the Gemfan 1219S's. Just buy them all. It'll cost you like less than $20 total to get a couple of sets of every single one of those, and then just test them. You might love low KV with the low pitch props. It's and that's okay. There's no wrong or right answers here. Those 4 propellers perform very different. They have very different levels of durability, and so you really owe it to yourself to just try them all. Don't just fly 1 battery on each. Fly 20 or 30 batteries on each, and then So it's like, get used to them, fly a bunch of batteries over a couple of days, and then fly 3 or 4 batteries, and then switch, and then fly 3 or 4 batteries on the new prop, and then fly that prop for another couple days, and then do that again. Switch it up after you get used to them, but give yourself a couple of days to really kind of get into it and get used to each propeller before you change it. That's how you're going to decide. Cool. Let me put this 0703 back in here before I forget where it belongs. And we are going to continue here. So this is the new Screamer. I actually really like that this new Screamer is turning a slightly higher kV, because that makes it much closer to what you would expect from a 32,500 kV motor. Although, actually, your expectations of what a motor is going to do are only going to be based on the previous motors that you've run. So, yeah, that's all out the window. That's going to be different for each one of us. Each one of us has a different sort of barometer on our head for what these motors should be turning. Did I test an 0603? I did not. Let's test one of those. Prototype 30,000. 36,000 I did test. Good. Put that away. Okay. Sub 250 1002. That'll be interesting. Vegan 802. And I can test one more. And here's a low KV 802. This will be interesting. This is Tiny Whoop's 1.5 millimeter shaft EX 802. I forget what this thing is called. It's cool looking though, blue and green. It's sitting right over there. Man, I didn't expect any of this to go this way. This is insane. But we got to figure this out, man. This is important stuff as far as I'm concerned. I thought I would test a couple BetaFPV motors, test a couple Happy model motors, and just be like pretty much done. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's the I guess it doesn't have a fancy name. It's just the hex. 19,000 kV 802 EX. All right. And here we go. Plug that in. Plug this in. Still at 4 volts, right? Yep, still at 4 volts. Get these motors so that they're hanging away from one another. Okay, motor 1 is the Vegan 25,000 kV EX 802. Not modes, motors. I don't have that motor, Hemox. But that's such a low kV motor that, like, well, it's stamped as a low kV motor. God only knows what it actually is. 46,000. Pretty solidly at 46,000. Yep. 46,000. All right, so that is an 802 25,000 kV. What did I just say? 46,000, right? I think so. No, that can't be right. Oh wait, no, yeah. That's yep. No, that's good. Sub 250, 20,000 kV 1002. This will be interesting. $34, $35. 34, 35, 36, 35, 36. Look at this one warming up. Solidly at 36 now. I could like ramp him all the way up to get him warmed up quicker, I guess. Solidly at 36. Yep. Not budging. 36. So that is sub 250, 1002, 20K, 36,000. Okay. Oh wait, no, 18. Sorry, no. Yeah, that's about right. Motor 3 is 603, 30,000 kV prototype. I'm going to ramp it way up to get it warmed up quicker. And then bring it back down. 56,000, 55, 56, 56, 55, 56. 55, 56. I'm going to call it. Nope. There. Now it's sitting at 56. 56,000. Yep. Looks about right. Whoa. I got to stop doing that. I got to ramp them down instead of just hard stopping them. Hex 802, 19,000. Let's see what this little fella does. Crank it way up to get it warmed up. $37,000, 38, 37, 36, 37, 36, 37. This one's going to be 36.5. 36.5. Oh, that one's pretty close. That one's getting closer. 36, 37, 36, 37. Yep. All right, great. So, Happy Model is looking like they're pretty consistently under spec'd, which we knew. What I keep seeing is like somewhere around 2,000 kV different, right? 19,000 kV stated, 18 actual. 30,000 kV stated, 28 actual. 40. A little bit of an aberration here, but we're getting towards the ends of what's possible, right? The higher we go in kV, the more off it's going to get. 36 down to 30, 34 down to 30. Yeah, the higher kV ones, the difference is gigantic. Let's keep going. I got some more piled up here to test. Let's just keep going. Jesus Christ, it's 6 o'clock already. Maybe let's not keep going. That's a lot. We've gone through a lot. Fuck it. Let's just keep going. I don't. I know I should go and be around people and dance and have fun, but I don't fucking want to. I want to burn everything to the goddamn ground. I don't want to ever be happy again. It's all bad and it's all horrible. Christ. Next Sunday I will. All right, prototype motors are all put away here, right? I tested the 34,000s, right? All right, got that. Is this another 34? It is indeed. The 34 is really tested low. Let me test another one. Let me test another 34,000 prototype just to confirm that. Okay, sub 250 motor did fine. Oh, here's the other one that I was looking for. Okay. All right. Put this over here because I want to run this on this 2S build that I got to do eventually. Old school happy model 802 19,000. That'll be fun. What's up, phone? Yeah, I know. My phone telling me to go dance. Next time. And then here's an EX 25,000 kV. This will be cool. All right, I need one more motor. Let's test an iGao motor. iGao 802. Don't I have more 702s to test? I guess not. Okay. iGao motor. I wish I had more BetaFPV motors to test, but I mean, they don't really have many motors, you know? Oh, I gotta test some newbie drone motors. Yeah. Oh, I got these, yeah. Oh, I gotta do mailbag too. I got this hummingbird here, yo. Let's test these guys. Hold on, let's hold off on the X12. We're gonna test a couple of these hummingbirds. I can't bind to the damn things, but I can certainly pull a prop off and see what their motors spin up to. Yeah, this is the Hummingbird Race 3.1. Let's hook up to this and see what happens. Newbie drone. I have actually tested some newbie drone motors for Kelvin from newbie drone, and they are usually. Here's the other thing. Okay, this is. Like, so newbie drone, to my knowledge, does not manufacture their own motors. Tiny Whoop does not manufacture their own motors. Weebly does not manufacture their own motors. Happy Model makes the Tiny Whoop and the Weebly motors. I don't know who makes the newbie drone motors. These manufacturers are the ones telling these companies what the KV is. These companies then have to do stuff like asking me to spin these motors up to confirm this stuff, because the manufacturers have a tendency to lie. I'll just say it. Maybe they're not lying on purpose, but so don't, like, when we spin this motor up and it's drastically off, don't be like, oh, newbie drone, you shitbags. They're as surprised as I am in a lot of these cases, you know what I mean? So don't take any of this out on Weebleed or Tiny Whoop or Newbie Drone or BetaFPV. They can only do so much. They ask the manufacturer to make a motor at X or Y or Z kV, and then you would think that they'd be able to trust it when it shows up, but obviously they can't. But then what do? It's like, oh, I don't know what PWM this is on. It's giving me all kinds of weird shit. I might not be able to. Oh yeah, something's fucked up. Something ain't right. Okay, I guess I can't test this. I must have effed this up when I was trying to get it to work. Okay, that stinks. Let me see if I didn't screw up the other hummingbird. I don't have time to dive into that. That's a bit much. I'm just gonna move to the next hummingbird and see if it will spin up. This has, oh god, this has 802s on it. Who cares about 802s? They are 25,000s. Let's spin them up. Let's spin one up, just so that we have some. Oh, it's on PH 2.0. Never mind. All right, we got no data for newbie drone. Sorry. I have to have a newbie drone 702 floating around. Where the hell are they? Where are all the newbie drone 702 motors? Oh, they're right here. There they are. Nubidra. Oh, they're on the wrong plugs. Oh my god, why is everything so difficult all the time, always? Not getting any newbie drone data. Sorry. They use a wacky motor plug. Yeah, nope. Nope. Sorry. That's a 36,000. We already tested that. That's a 40,000. We already tested that. I got a couple here we'll test. Oh, here we go. 802, 33,000 kV. Here we go. This is going to be cool. This will be an interesting test of hand-wound 802 36,000s versus machine-wound 802 33,000s. These are Frankenstein motors here. This is a Tiny Whoop Imoptura 802 33,000 kV stator on a iGao 802 Bell with the 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. Let's get shafted. Your guess is as good as mine. Is anybody still here? You guys are still hanging out? Holy shit, that's cool. You guys care about this stuff? Jesus. You're as bad as I am. Connect! Motors! I do understand the risks, and I'm going to page up for power. Give it a second to warm up. Oh, this is interesting. This is a higher kV than the hand winds. It's bouncing back and forth between 59 and 60. Let me crank it up, fucker. To get it warmed up. 59, 60, 59, 60, 59, 60. It's just bouncing back and forth, so that means 59.5. Oh my goodness. That's wild. 59.5. Look at that. So, hand wound 802 36,000s with a similar, I'll bet, but probably somewhat different method of measuring kV than Happy Model versus machine wound 33,000 kV. I thought when I back-to-backed this rig with Cloudhopper's rig that they felt awful similar. And that would be why. What's very interesting, though, and such a perfect fucking example of how strong placebo is that at the end of that testing, I did say to myself, yeah, okay, the 36,000 kVs make a little bit more power. Not a lot more power, but a little bit more power. And maybe they do because Cloudhopper potentially used a thicker winding material, which will generate more actual power. And I think I did look at the in-flight RPM, and that really tells the tale of power production. We're not testing power production here. We're just testing raw KV, which is not as important as the other testing that I was doing, but the other testing is a lot more time consuming. So yeah. This is wild, dude. This is wild stuff. I was gonna weigh that rig, but that's pointless. The placebo is strong, people. Uriel says... What? Oh. Uriel says, let me burn the world. Cheetonian says, you have BetaFPV 18,000 kV 1102 somewhere. I do. Hey. I've already got 4 motors for this, though, so let's just test this. This is the Champion Edition. I did test this. What's on here? 32,500. I did test this. That's fine. That's done. Those are fine. Okay. A couple more here. And I'm going to retest this 34,000. This is an old prototype 34,000. The previous old 34,000 prototype that I tested did not do very well. It's starting to seem like the older Happy Model motors were even lower kV. The newer ones seem to be a little bit closer in kV to where they should be. If you can't tell by now, though, I keep putting that in air quotes because there is no should anymore. It's just, if these companies are going to use different methods to check their KVs, this is what we're going to deal with. Until they get together and say, hey, let's stop fucking over all of our customers and do something with some standardization. This is going to continue to happen. This is an 802 19,000 kV. I'm going to crank it way up to get some heat into it. 34,000 kV. Not really moving much. 34,000. Oh, I've already... Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect example of that. This is an old 802 19,000 kV motor. A little bit ago, we tested a new 0802 19,000 kV motor. The new made 36,500 kV. This old is making 34,000 kV. Thanks for making my point. The newer Happy Model motors are turning higher RPMs. This is a retest of another 0702 34,000. Crank it up to get some heat in it. KV and RPM are not the same, but they're just different calculations. 60,000 kV this time. It's exactly what it did last time. All right. This is an older motor. Again, that feeds right into that. Ooh, we're figuring shit out. 802 25,000 kV. 802 25,000 kV. I've tested another one of these and it showed 46,000. This one is showing 46,000. Awesome. Beautiful. That's what I like to see. Consistency. This is an iGao 802 27,000. I've not tested one of these yet. Boy, that is a lot higher. That's almost 10,000 RPM higher. 55,000 RPM. Have I been saying KV when I've been reading out these RPM measurements? If I have, I'm so sorry. My brain is mush. This is bouncing back and forth between 55 and 56,000 RPM. I've been saying KV a lot. I'm sorry, guys. Jesus. My brain. So I'm going to say 55,500 RPM. 55,500 RPM. 55.5. Hopefully, when I've been reading out 55,000 kV, there are no motors that are even remotely that high. So hopefully you guys have been fixing that in your brains. Wow, okay, super interesting stuff. Old Happy Model motors. Yeah, either they changed the way that they're winding them, delta versus WYE, or they changed something, because the older Happy Model motors are consistently showing lower RPM than the newer ones that are stamped the same KV. This is on 802, 25,000. That one goes there. This is an 802, 19,000. That's actually really good to know. You go there. This is the last of the prototype motors that I'm going to test. You go there. Jesse is the greatest. Consistently the greatest. I got a motor that spun pretty good. I got 802 27,000 spun up pretty good there. That was a good RPM. It's a great motor. It's one of my favorites. All right. Now for some wacky ones. BetaFPV 1102 18,000. Ooh, let's get Zing in the mix. Iflight Zing 803 or 2? 802 28,000. Here's a funny one. Old ass Happy model. This is stupid. I'm not going to test. These are not motors that get run. The 1102 18,000, I'm going to test that real quick. No, I'm not, because it's got the wrong plug on it. Sorry. My 802, yeah, those are set up for the tiny lifters. I think that's about it. 702 32,000 30,000. I don't know where these are. Oh, I do. They're in here. Yeah. I was gonna say, man, I know I've got more motors than this to test. Those are the 32s. Oh no, where the hell are they? No, I think we're good. I think that's a good place to stop. Greenhorn FPV says, does the RPM change from plug or direct soldered, or that'll be another test? The RPM won't. The actual amount of power that they make under load with a propeller on will. You'll get a little bit more from direct soldering, but the downsides of direct soldering there are so many downsides to direct soldering that I'm not going to test that. It's just dumb. You'll get a little bit more power, a little bit more efficiency, and the serviceability becomes a total pain in the ass. I'm just not doing it. It's way too much time and effort for me to do that. If you're willing to sacrifice serviceability for a little bit more power and efficiency, awesome, do it. If not, don't. The end. Yeah. I stole that from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe if you like good YouTube content. They are the best automotive channel on YouTube, hands down. ORT custom, slightly shorter micro Vs. They will be on the Etsy store, but if you absolutely need me to ship them right away, shoot me a message. I've got them in white and black. Yeah, stay tuned for them to pop up on the actual Etsy store. Freelojo sent me a little care package with a bunch of carbon fiber. He sent me the Cineglide frame a while ago because he wasn't using it, and he was like, I know I've got a bunch of extra parts for it, but I just can't find them. Well, he found them, and he sent me a whole big bag of extra Cineglide parts. I will never use this many. If you have a Cineglide and you want some extra carbon fiber for it, let me know, and I'll send it to you. This is the Cineglide. It's this wacky long nose bastard. I actually really like this frame, but I do not need this much extra carbon fiber for it. So let me know if you have a Cineglide and you want some backup carbon fiber for it. There's not enough for a build here. Like, there's no arms, there's no top plates. There's just these like sandwich plates and one extra bottom plate. This one's all mine. This is all mine. You might be able to convince me to send you this. Oh, that's a lie. There are some extra top plates. But there's a ton of these little plates here. So yeah, if you have a Cineglide, let me know. And there's a bunch of these plates as well. So let me know. I'm willing to share. I'm going to keep at least one extra of all of these so that I can build so I can repair mine if/when I blow it up. The main amazing thing in here, though, is itty bitty. Ooh, buddy! Thank you so much, Freelojo. This is the little module for the QX7 to fix the baud rate problem. Thank you so much, dude. Very, very cool. So anybody that's been searching for one of these to hook a brother up, I am good. Somebody else is sending me one of these, which is awesome because I really wanted to have an extra. I was hoping that 2 of you would find these. But yeah, this is the itty bitty little thing that you need to install in QX7s to get the baud rate up for that low latency lovin'. And or to just get it to work with ELRS 500 hertz. So yeah, this is awesome. This will be going in the backup QX7 that I have. And then a couple of these BetaFPV 75X frames, which I actually don't really like. These might make it into giveaways. But yeah, I will either give them another try or just put them directly into the giveaways. Thank you, Freelojo. Very cool, brother. Very, very cool of you. I need to put this by the frames to remind myself to go in there. And then these can go here in the on-deck circle. There's your mailbag. Quick little gander at my mailbag. Let's fly a couple of batteries and then shut this mother down. It's been a million hours. Cheetonian says, been following Muddy Car Mods since they were putting patina on a Volkswagen Golf by pissing on it. Yeah, they've done some crazy shit over the years. They are the best. And they're huge proponents of mental health and just in general, like, really good human beings here on Earth. And that's important, yo. We are going to compare the Air 65 Champion Edition on these new low-pitch tri-blades to a Happy Model Mobula 6 2024 all the way upgraded on a light AF frame with 40,000 kV motors that I've swapped bells onto with 1.5mm motor shafts and are on the Gemfan 1210 biblades. Let me weigh these two guys. Air 65 Champion Edition, pretty much stock other than the prop swap, 17.4 grams. Super customized Mobula 6 2024, wow, 17.1 grams. We are going to be comparing motors that turn 70,000 RPM on biblades versus 64,000 RPM on tri-blades. The pitch of these two are very, very, very similar. But biblades versus tri-blades, slightly higher KV versus slightly higher RPM. I might just stop saying KV in general. Versus slightly lower RPM. Happy Model versus BetaFPV. You know, it's the lower RPM motors could very easily make more actual power. KV is not everything. KV is a really good measure of how much power the motor is going to make. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the whole story. And you can easily have a motor that's lower kV, either because it's inappropriately marked or because they used incorrectly sized windings in that motor, make more or less power. Let's go Air 65 Champion first. I'm also going to be running these on batteries that are kind of all over the place. So, yeah, that does not help with the consistency here. But, as always, I digress. Air 65 Champion! Hold on, let me get the cool double helix going. Let's get double helixed. What do you say, friends? Where's the plug? Where is it? There it is. Oh, there it goes. Oh man, that looks cool from there. All right, Air 65 Champion. Woo! Shit. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. This thing is nuts, man. This is mega power. God damn. 58,579 RPM. Remember that. We're going to compare that to the Mobula 6 2024. Where am I? Okay. Okay. All right. Oh my god, man. Such power for a bind and fly. Jesus. What's everybody doing? What are you doing, angry German dog? Uh-oh, here he comes. Oh! Now's his chance. It's on the ground. Oh, that beard. Oh, he's going crazy. Teddy going crazy. Whoa. Boy. Oh, no! Ooh, durability testing. That slammed flat, though. Yo, this. God damn, this thing makes power. These props feel great, too. Oh, I caught the... Oh, boy. Oh, it's just all the darkness. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Tangled on something. Uh-oh. I can't see anything. I can't see anything either, guys. Hey! Got out of there. Look at me go. Come on back downstairs. Oh! Woo! Shit! Oh, God! This will also be an interesting runtime comparison. Get you some flight time, my friends. Fly your 6 batteries. Jesus. Or else... Oh my god, it kind of went into that cube. I didn't expect that. Oh, what was I doing there? I don't know. Weirdly couldn't decide what I was gonna do. Hey! Oh! Don't you do it. Don't you go back behind there. Oh my god, what did I do that for? It's inside the VR headset. Oh, you get it. Woo! Sure enough. That's where it was. Seriously, though, fly your 6 batteries today, my friends. Flying is fun. It'll make you feel better. You'll get a little bit better at flying. You'll impress your friends. Static hover, we are at 3.48, 3.49, 3.48, so this is it. 3 minutes and 11 seconds. We hovered, played with Teddy a little bit. Let's go direct, shit. All right, hold on. I want to get that RPM measurement. That RPM measurement is the best thing that we've got to kind of compare the actual power output of these motors. Let's take a look. The difference, though, is that we've got different props between these two, so it's not the best comparison point, but still, it's a pretty decent comparison point of power production, especially because the pitch on these two props is pretty similar. So we're going to go full battery right upstairs, see how high of an RPM we can get. Jesus, this thing screams. Wow, okay, yeah, so that's... I'm not going to get it to wind up any more than that. Let me disarm and we'll see where it's at. Oh, God. 60,325. So 60,000. There he is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He's getting a little aggressive. Go ahead, buddy. Get it. Get it. You won't. Get it. You won't. Go ahead. Get it. You won't. Come back downstairs. Oh, God. The durability testing of this Air 65 Champion continues. Oh! Oh! I like that. That was cool looking. Hold on. Let's do that again. Out through the top. Oh! It's not even that hard to do. I like that the most about it. Oh, rejected. Oh! Oh, this is super fun to fly, man. If they make more of these, what a bind and fly. Ah! The only thing is the runtime. The runtime's a little low. But for freestyle, who cares? Ah! Oh! No. Don't do it. Don't choose violence, Emmanuel. Oh, what was that? Oh, I don't know. I know where it is. Oh my God, I can't believe I got it out of there. Whoop. Whoop. Oh, couldn't decide where I was going. And let's bounce around the room. Oh God. As I talked briefly last time, the way that these BetaFPV motors make their power, like where in the throttle throw they make power, is a little different than Happy Model. And so doing this like really in this really tight technical stuff, I struggle a little bit more. Like look how much my elevation is going up and down. With the Happy Model motors, I'm just kind of like locked. I've flown a lot of batteries with those Happy Model motors, though. Static hover of 347, 346. Runtime 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Now we're going to go over to the Happy Model setup. I've also... the only modification I've done, other than changing the props, is to slightly lighten the antenna on this thing by removing the ground plane. Other than that, it's a stone stock Air 65 Champion. Custom Mobula 6 2024 build on 40,000 kV, Happy Model Motors. And Gemfan 1210 biblades. Oh my god. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Where am I? Here we go. Oh my god, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? What is going on? I can't fly all of a sudden. Oh god. Hold on, that was not a good run. Here we go. That was a good run. Oh god, Azalea almost caught one to the face! Azalea almost in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's disarm it and see what the RPM was on those two hits. 57,800. This battery sagged a lot when I plugged it in. I think this battery is shit, so we're going to retest. But, again, could totally be that these Happy Model motors just don't make the same power, and they can't push the propeller as hard as the BetaFPV motors. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't think crash recovery is turned on in this rig. This battery did seem to sag down to 3.8 volts really early. Like before I even got upstairs. So I have a feeling that this is just a battery that's hurt. I can't do shit all of a sudden. Jesus. Oh yeah, look at it. I'm already getting low battery warnings at 1 minute and 40. This battery's shot. If that was only the reason why I'm flying like a buffoon. Oh no. Oh no. Don't make me stand up. I don't want to stand up. I have to stand up. Oh, I have to stand up. Okay. I'm just going to pull this battery and throw it in the river. Because it's performing horrible. Let's try another one. These are all tattoo batteries that are not super old. My guess would be maybe like 50 cycles through them. Let's see if I can get this upstairs before it sags down to below 4 volts. Oh, this feels way different. Well, it's all the way down at 4 volts already. This one should be a little bit better, though. It feels like it's hovering at a lower RPM. I didn't get a good run up there. Whew, that was a pretty good one. Try it one more time. This is also a more pitchy propeller. This is a 1.0 pitch versus 0.9 pitch. But this battery does... Oh, fuck! Can somebody rewind and tell me what that RPM was? I armed and disarmed too damn fast. God damn it, I can't believe I just did that. Jesus Christ. Let's see what that pulled. 56,933, so still not even all that close to 60,000. Hopefully that number from those two big runs will be a little bit better. Oh! Ah, shitters. What is that? Where am I? Oh, I'm on the cardboard sheets that the cool double helix came in. Ah! So close. Power looping into the double helix. Or at least trying to. Ah, I get all carried away and I try to like just let those hang forever, and then it makes it like I have like no time to catch them. Oh my god! Ah! Jesus. Elevation control is an issue with these. 32, 30. Let me see if the... Jesus! Oh, no. What? Oh, I fell down behind. No. No! Oh, God. Okay. Oh, boy. I just pulled a muscle in my neck. Okay. Okay. Just another Kevin with a $20 super chat. He says, to good health. Thank you, brother. Very, very cool of you. Oh, my God. You know you're old when you pull a neck muscle reaching for a quad. Ooh, buddy. That feels like hell. Oh my god. Oh, yikes. What a literal pain in the neck. Low battery. There it is. 2 minutes and 34. We're going to run another battery on here. I think both of these batteries are a little bit soft. Maybe not. I don't know. Hard to tell. I'm not throwing that one in the river, though. It didn't feel that soft. Here we go. Last battery of the live stream, friends. Thanks for hanging. Let's see if this can get upstairs before it gets under 4 volts. This one's doing better. 4.10. No, there it goes all the way down again. 406, 404, 402. Let's see. Okay, that was a good one. Do one more. I don't blame that prop wash. I mean, that you're never going to do that. There we go. 61,133. Not a lot higher, though. Right? Like, oh, God. But, again, different propellers. Different propellers. Much better. Okay, I was very confused for a minute there. This will also be the battery that we want to check runtimes with. So, let me try to fly this. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Let me try to fly this sort of like normal freestyle-ish. Those big full throttle blasts have to be murder on the battery, though. Luckily, I only did 2 of them. Let's see. Let's see what kind of runtime we get from this. Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, I tried to go for 2 and back it down through the cube. See if I can get this throttle control. Nope. Dialed in. I was going to try to power loop the coffee table. Oh, really? You're going to do me like that? Okay. See how it is. You see where your allegiances lie. Tiny whoop. Oh, stop it. Woo, shit. Got a mirror flip in here. Here's what the rig looks like that I'm flying. Get back up there. There it is. Oh, God! No, no! Please, no. Don't make me walk. No, I don't want to walk. I don't want to stand up. No! Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Somebody else join my Patreon. You know you want to. Oh, God. Hey. What? Get off. Let me go. Thank you. 2 minutes and 30. I used to get really good runtime from these. I used to get really decent runtime from these high KV motors. I don't know what's going on. Those big full throttle blasts, though, they are just murder. I don't know. What do you want from me? Runtime doesn't matter. If you're racing, you're going to run what all the other racers are running. If you're flying freestyle, runtime doesn't matter. Buy lots of batteries. I love you. Bye! Thanks for hanging, friends. CiottiFPV.com. Support me, and I'll do this forever. And we will learn shit so that you can buy good shit instead of terrible stuff. I love you. Have a good day. Good luck. If you live in America, it's going to get real bad. I'm not ready. Here is chasing some drift cars with the FXT camera, the new Mobula 6 2024 camera on 36,000 kV heavy mono motors. The green ones. See!